Is this it? This is it.
We're
Nice.
live, yeah.
Uh, we're live. Welcome to episode 2 of Where Heartbreak Feels Good, a dazzling podcast about stories that may or may not feel perfect and powerful. This week, we're gonna kind of like venture into the things that got us into film and TV and everything pop culture. Joining me today is my co host, Josh. May you
Hello,
introduce
everyone.
yourself?
I'm Josh. I'm excited to talk about some shit I love.
And we also have my personal therapist, Preston.
Hello, I'm Preston. I'm not a personal therapist. We can be co-therapists. It is what it is.
Co-therapist. It is what it
Whatever. To one another. That's just friendship at that point. Yeah, I'm Preston. Hi. Here's my
is.
intro.
And joining us from My Cup of Tea, we have Evan.
Heck
Hey.
yes. My name is Evan. Yeah, we just finished doing hyperspace hype yesterday, talking about all things Star Wars. So this is my
Hell yeah.
second podcast in a row. Feeling good. I was like, I'll hop on. I have a lot of stuff to say about film, getting me into pop culture, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and I love you guys. So this should be a fun time. I'm ready.
Hell
Love you
yeah.
back. Love you back. So, where do you guys want to start off with this topic? Because I mean, it's a very like broad topic. We could literally talk about anything in film and TV. Would you guys want to start with a little galaxy far away?
Little franchise. A little
Yeah.
sci-fi
Yeah,
franchise. Let's do
independent
it.
movie.
Yeah. I heard it has something to do
Well-
with poetry, so that should be fun.
Yeah, something about laser swords or something. I don't know.
Exactly.
I kind of wanted to ask you guys, because even if you're not really into Star Wars, you've heard of it. But what's the thing that actually got you into this franchise? Would you want to start us, Josh, with the Rise of Skywalker poster behind you?
That was his first Star Wars movie.
I got you into the franchise.
But honestly, I've always been into Star Wars like as a kid, like as a more of a general fan, Like I dressed up as Vader for Halloween and stuff. But it was honestly Force Awakens that got me into like being a huge fan of it and loving it. I've seen the movies like kind of in passing, but like once that Force Awakens trailer came out that June, I actually like got the box set, watched through all of them, and just fell in love.
Oh, Josh, had you seen any Star Wars movie in theaters before Force Awakens?
No, Force Awakens was first.
Wow.
That's
Nice.
interesting.
I mean, maybe Revenge of the Sith, like as a baby, but I don't know. I don't remember that.
Nice.
How about you, Evan?
Yeah. Well, for the theater one, I saw Attack of the Clones in 2002. I remember falling asleep because it was very long movie. I woke up when they were in the dueling arena, whatever it's called, Geonosis. Man, what got me into Star Wars? I remember it's always weird. It's like in terms of, did I always know Darth Vader was Anakin or Darth Vader was Luke's father? Like, I don't know what I knew going in, but I started with the original trilogy. My dad more so than my mom was a big Star Wars fan. What really got me into Star Wars was just the worlds of it all. Like growing up, I was a huge Harry Potter and Star Wars fan, kind of like intermingled. But just from both of those worlds, I just love like the different worlds, Luke's journey. I wasn't the biggest Luke fan, but I did like Empire Strikes Back a lot. I did like Return of the Jedi a lot. I liked a lot of the action in it. Han Solo was always my guy. Han Solo was my favorite Star Wars character all the way up to The Force Awakens. Then I saw his son, Kylo Ren, and I'm like, okay, this is my favorite Star Wars character. But yeah, just Han Solo, the character, he really got me into Star Wars, even though I was a big lightsaber kind of guy, but I liked Han Solo a lot. But yeah, I would say probably the worlds, different worlds, going from Hoth, Endor. I was a huge Endor fan growing up. So yeah. A little bit of everything in Star Wars. Not so much the romance though, which is kind of backwards from
Really
like where I am now. Where like Star Wars now, I'm like it needs a romance or I'm out. But
yeah.
But back then I was like, Han, Leia, that's cute, that's cool, but like, go back to the
Especially-
fighting.
Especially if one of them dies.
Yeah, I know, right? Star Wars has like never a good romance in Star Wars, but
Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty much me.
How about you, Preston? Would you mind telling us your favorite and worst Star Wars movie?
Ooh.
We'll get into that. No, like for me, with Star Wars, it was kind of, I grew up, some of my earliest memories are watching Star Wars movies, the prequels, Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones specifically. And, those movies, and obviously like Disney movies is what I grew up on when you're little. That's kind of like, I don't know, that's all you watch, at least
We'll
for
get
me.
into that.
And yeah, we will. But Star Wars for me, being, I had the original trilogy as well. I think at the, literally like when I say growing up, I mean like 3-4 years old. I think Return of the Jedi was probably my favorite of the original trilogy. And I liked it, but the prequels, Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones specifically, I just like, I watched that movie on repeat. Like Attack of the Clones, I don't know why, but just like growing up, I loved it and I'd watch it on repeat. And nowadays I look back and I'm like, yeah, it's like probably not the best movie compared to the rest. But at the same time, growing up watching it almost not every single day, obviously, but like more than any other movie. Except for one, which we'll talk about later, which isn't Star Wars, but more than most movies is just like that movie has such a special place in my heart. And then the first movie I saw in theaters, I remember also my first like PG-13 movie because I was 6 years old was Revenge of the Sith in theaters. I remember my dad taking me. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. I was like, I remember like campaigning to let my mom take me. I was like, I know it's PG-13, but like I'm 6 years old now, and
I'm a man.
It's Star Wars. It's Star Wars, and I love it, and I have to see it. Like I'm gonna see it anyways, Mom. But and then it's just like, I remember this is such a weird like memory, but I do remember like being probably 5 when they were marketing Revenge of the Sith right around the time it came out, so maybe 6. And I just remember seeing like, I think they might have done like a promotional thing or something with Burger King. Maybe I'm completely wrong and just remembering something incorrect.
I think that's
but like,
right.
In my brain, I remember being 6 years old, sitting in the Burger King and seeing the Revenge of the Sith poster on the window and just being like, oh my God, I'm so hyped. I'm so ready. Like just knowing that it was going to be the coolest thing ever. And that was the first movie that I can remember ever seeing in a movie theater. So like that movie obviously has a special place in my heart as well. And then, 2015 rolls around, and after 10 years of not really thinking or really caring about Star Wars, because I didn't watch the animated shows when they came out, I watched them like just a couple of years ago. But, after, sorry. But after, so long of like not having Star Wars as like an active part of my life, I remember when they announced episode 7 and then they made there was like a fan poster that went viral. You guys might have seen it. Just like Darth Vader's
Adam
helmet like, in
Driver
the sand
and the
or something.
Mandalorian armor.
Not that one. No, that's like very cringe edit. But like somebody made a fan poster that actually looked really cool, and it was just like Darth Vader's helmet in the sand, and some like tagline of like what's dead isn't always dead, something along those lines. That sounded a lot cooler. But I remember seeing that and I was like, oh my God, I love Star Wars. Like I forgot I loved Star Wars, and now I really love Star Wars. So then the sequel trilogy coming around right whenever I was starting to actually get into film and like actually like appreciate it as an art form and as a more mature human being, like that coming around at that time in my life is, another reason why Star Wars is just special to me, because they came around like the prequel trilogy right when I was like literally developing as a human being at 3, 4, 5 years old. And then the sequel trilogy whenever I'm like developing as an adult and like starting to appreciate movies themselves and like find what I love,
That's
so
awesome.
My journey with Star Wars is complex, but that's the bare bones of it, why I love it.
That's it's very interesting how we all came back to the sequel trilogy as we started liking film more. It was like that 2014, 2015 era for me when I was like, okay, I started watching the Oscars way more than I usually did. Like I think
Honestly, AMC Movie Talk was like what got me into
Yeah.
film, really.
That's
That's
true
Yeah.
as
like
well. Yeah.
Hate to
horrible
admit it,
say,
but
but like
true.
it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because I would remember like watching the Birdman Oscars. I liked Birdman a lot. Like I was the only one in my
That was
family
my
who liked
first
Birdman.
Oscars too. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm actually invested in this award ceremony. Usually I didn't give a crap. Like I remember the whole Gravity stuff and stuff before that. My dad was a huge Crash fan in 2008, I think. But yeah, like we all started getting into movies and enjoying it right when the sequel trilogy came out in 2015. So it was a
Yeah.
perfect melting pot of all this stuff coming together. Really cool.
I guess it's my turn. I have a very weird, I guess, way that I got into Star Wars because, okay, so when I was a kid, I used to hear all of these stories from my mom, how my grandparents used to have the Laserdisc copies of A New Hope and Empire, I believe, those two.
Mm.
Um, but I never watched them. I was never like, oh, I was like, that's cool, whatever. I was an idiot. But I guess therapy session. It was around, I don't know, 2008 or 9 when my parents got divorced, and I just really got like into like video games and into movies as a way to like escape all of that shit.
Mhm.
And I remember the very first thing that actually got me into Star Wars. It wasn't the movies, it wasn't the TV shows, it wasn't even what video game you would expect it was. It was the fucking it was the fucking Lego Star Wars the complete saga
That's amazing.
Hell yeah.
video game. Um, and I don't know, I just really got into it, and then I started playing. I believe they came up with like the Clone Wars version
Yep.
of the video games.
That was fun.
Probably honestly probably the best one out of those three first. Out of
It was
those,
great. It was great.
yeah. And then shortly after, I started getting into the Clone Wars, the on Cartoon Network.
Mm.
And from there, that's when my like interest, like my curiosity, really like sparked. Like I was like, okay, let's check these movies out finally after all of this
Uh-huh.
time. And in between, like I don't know, 2011ish to 15, that's when I really got into Star Wars. And I remember what Josh mentioned, AMC Movie Talk and all of those guys. Didn't they start their podcast, the Jedi Council, around that time, like leading up to
think
The
so.
Force Awakens? I
Yeah.
believe.
I think it was like the
I
2014 day, 2013 maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah,
2013
and
is when like movie talk started, and that's when like the old days,
Okay.
you know, with like one was
Because they did the
good.
Man of Steel review and people that classic.
the classic somebody got fired because of that movie. um,
Yeah.
no, but yeah, and this is, well, Disney had already purchased Star Wars, and they came up with Rebels, which is freaking amazing. I'm sure we're gonna get
Wow.
into it
Yeah, we'll
in a
get into
bit.
it.
Yeah. And I remember like watching Jedi Council, like I really got into the comics and into the books. Lost Stars, my beloved. I love you.
Yes.
I actually have it underneath underneath me right now.
That's cool.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. Star Wars is weird for me now. I'm in a position where I try to enjoy what I get, but it's not.
Oh
It's
boy.
not as. It's not as alive as it used to be. You know.
Ever since 2019.
Oh boy, here the discourse start.
No, but yeah, 2015 it was like a big year, like for
Yeah.
film with The Force Awakens for all of us, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of like my experience with Star Wars. Actually, okay, so here's the thing. My dad hates going to the movies unless it's something
Still?
Mine
very
too.
okay. You want the last movie that I ever saw with him? The last movie that I saw with him at a movie theater was Creed 2, and I don't even remember when that was. Like 2018, 17. I
Think
don't even
so.
remember.
2018, I think.
Yeah, one of those dates. So getting to like watch The Force Awakens with all of my family was like a very big deal for me because I didn't really used to do that as often back in the day.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
but that's
cool.
kind of like my story with Star Wars.
Yeah. Real quick, I think peak enjoyment for Star Wars for me was like that 2017 time. like 2016 and 2017. Like I was full into the Reylo fandom in 2016, and then 2017 was a lead up into The Last Jedi, and I was like all on board. It was my most anticipated movie ever.
Yeah.
And then like after that, we hit the post TLJ era where people were just complaining. Solo was going through the shithole. Ron Howard was coming in to save the day. And it was just like that ambiguous time. Then I got excited again when JJ got announced to come back for Tross, and I was ecstatic because I love me some JJ Abrams. And then Tross came out, and then that happened. So then it was just like a lot. And then Star Wars news. We still don't know what they're doing with movies. So ever since 2019, for movies at least, it's just been very like ambiguous for me. But I'm still loving everything. I'm still enjoying stuff.
I think that's like. No, go ahead.
Go. Oh, well, I was just gonna say, like, I know, like, everybody says that they're not gonna feel the same amount of hype that they felt for The Force Awakens, like leading up to it. But like for me personally, I think I was even more hyped for The Last Jedi, just because like
me too.
Oh yeah,
that ending. Not only is it's such a fucking perfect ending for The Force Awakens.
Honestly, like Rise of Skywalker, I was feeling that too.
Wow,
just because it was the last like movie, and because like all the press stuff was good, and I don't know, I was feeling that hype.
Yeah, and also like 2017 was like the perfect time because like that's when I was really like getting into film between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. Yeah. So when I heard that they got this guy named Ryan Johnson, I was like, oh, let's go check it out. Let's go check his movies. And I watched Looper, and I was like, holy fuck, cinema! This guy's gonna do a Star Wars movie,
right?
Yeah.
Hey.
But go ahead. Go ahead, Preston. I don't know what you were gonna say, but
no, I was just gonna say like along the lines of with The Last Jedi, the period in obviously like Force Awakens, everybody was so excited. Star Wars is back on the big screen. Everything's such a big deal. And I think it, knocked it out of the park in terms of just appeasing all the fans. I think everybody, there are very few people who will say like, I hate The Force Awakens. Like most people in general, I feel like that movie or have good things to say about it. So The Last Jedi,
sane people.
I remember, yeah. I remember like with The Last Jedi, like people were just, the excitement was over the moon. And it's something that, obviously now, and this is a topic for another episode, but now Star Wars has kind of lost some of that just some of that zeal. I think the fandom as a whole.
For yourself, sir.
Okay, well, whatever.
I mean, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
And when The Last Jedi came out, I remember one of the reasons that I love The Last Jedi is thanks. There's Trey. One of the reasons that I love The Last Jedi is because it came out at a very like pivotal time in my life. It was the first time that I was really like I got like really depressed that whole fall, and I remember I'm like failing out of school almost, and I just remember being like, okay, I get a Star Wars movie in December, like that's what I can look forward to. I might be failing out of school, my life might be going down the gutter, thankfully I turned it around, whatever. But I get a Star Wars movie in December, and I just remember like going to opening night. Like I remember I could have gone home for Christmas break on Monday evening of that week, but I had bought my tickets for Thursday night in a different state where I went to college. And I was like, no, I'm staying until I can see The Last Jedi. I'm not coming home until I see The Last Jedi, and I'll come home the next day. So yeah, that whole period of time where everybody was excited for that was it was a very exciting time.
Yeah, it's never going to be replicated.
I know, right? Force Awakens is probably still my favorite like theatrical experience. Just the whole like leading up to it. That was back when we still like waited in lines for movies. At least I did for that movie. I remember waiting. Like,
I didn't.
Several hours because like my theater didn't have reserved seats yet at that time.
My dad's business at the time actually rented out an entire theater and made it a whole marketing campaign and like donated the profit to charity and everything. So like we had an entire theater of people we knew who were super hyped for the movie. It was really cool.
Yeah. Dang. The most painful thing about The Last Jedi, I remember now that Preston is bringing memories about buying tickets and all that shit.
I hate this guy.
Trey didn't like it initially.
Get Trey out of here.
Anyway, I couldn't
Yes,
watch the
sir.
movie
Yes.
until that
Yes, Wolf.
Sunday, and I had to, and I got a Snoke spoiled for me by that Sunday because I had to wait like those like 3-4 days.
Like Snoke's death, a spoiler for you?
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
no.
You want to know a funny story?
yeah.
Remember
What?
the app that was like all pictures called iFunny? Do you guys remember
Oh
that?
yeah.
The what?
iFunny.
Literally, like hours before Force Awakens, my friend was sitting right as we were about to go out the door to drive to a theater. He showed me a picture of fucking Han Solo's death on that app.
Uh,
Yeah, so I was like, come on, but it
Wow.
I
didn't really
mean, we
matter
all
'cause
knew
it
it
was
was gonna
super great.
happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The moment's still fantastic. Yeah.
Hmm.
Fucking Trey.
I thank
so-
you. That's true. The meme king.
But yeah, back to like a while back, but to what as you said about Rebels, that's
Oh, yeah.
honestly what I would count as my favorite Star Wars, and the thing that
Mm.
really got me into Star Wars because I had watched the bot sets, obviously, like I mentioned after Celebration, but I had also watched the Rebel Season 2 trailer. I was like, ooh, this looks great. So I went back and watched Season 1, absolutely fell in love, and like that was I remember that being the first Star Wars thing where I like watched as it. So that was like that's why it's always been really special to me.
Yeah,
Yep.
I remember.
It's really good.
Yeah, I remember watching Rebels. When did Rebels come out? I think 2015 was when it came out, like the same year as the Force Awakens.
Yeah,
2014.
I think spring or
14?
fall. Yeah.
2014 was season 1. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
But yeah, that was a great year because I was like getting into college, and I was like really getting into Star Wars again because I watched Clone Wars. That was a special experience for me. My brother and I watched it every day, every Friday night on Cartoon Network. I think it was like 7 or 8 p.m. All the seasons of the Clone Wars. So then when Rebels came out, we were all in, and ever since the first episode, we just loved Rebels. We just did a Rebels rewatch last year. My brother still loves Rebels so much. I still love Rebels so much. And season 1, still one of the best season 1s of any like Star Wars show in general, animated or otherwise.
Everyone hates on season 1, but it's like I went back recently. It's holds
It's
up
really
so
solid.
well.
It's
That
very
ending.
strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it live, and there was a one episode where Hera and Sabine have to defend the base from those monsters in the shadows. And people are like, oh, this is a filler episode. But Dave Filoni, very
I
smart man.
love that episode.
That was a great episode. A great episode for Sabine and
Mhm.
Hera. They really grew as sisters. And it was a great episode. And people thought that was a filler, but it comes back into play in the finale. And
Yeah.
everything
like
in season 1 just
Virgils and
exactly. Everything in season 1 just connects so well. I just loved Rebels ever since. It's one of the best Star Wars experiences. I never thought it would
yeah, like I said,
impact me
it's
as
my
much as it did.
favorite story, Star Wars. And yet, it's so good.
Yeah. It's just
Remem-
perfect.
So, speaking like picking up from there, what's your guys' favorite Star Wars? Pretty
What's
sure
my
it's an
favorite
easy
war?
question, but
Oh, man.
what's your favorite war in the stars?
I'll go first. Like, I always go back and forth between Empire and The Last Jedi. Like,
Really?
yeah. Are we talking about movies or just in general, everything?
Just in general.
In general, but I would probably still say, yeah, I would still probably say it's either Empire or TLJ. I mean, Lost Stars for me was big. Crap. Wow, this is actually harder than now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, Lost
but
Stars is like top 3 for me.
fuck me. I would
I'd
say
probably do like Rebels, Last Jedi, and Lost Stars are at my 3.
that might be
Star
my
Wars.
top 3. But
Yeah,
the High Republic last year really
I'm behind. I'm really behind.
High
on it.
Republic really got me into a lot of very, very, very strong stories. I was in tears at the last novel.
Yeah.
So High Republic is getting up there, but I won't say it's in top 3 yet. But I might have to copy Josh's. Rebels will always have a strong case in my heart. It's the best Star Wars TV show, bar none. And Lost Stars, like growing up, I've always been a huge young adult fan. Like I read tons of young adult growing up.
Did you read
Games.
Twilight?
I read the first 2 books of Twilight actually.
Hunger Games slap.
Yeah, you
Those books
did.
slap.
Hunger Games was great. Twilight, the first 2 books, then I stopped because after that, I just I think after I saw what was the second one, New Moon. I
I
saw
think
that
so.
in
Yeah.
Yeah.
theaters. My mom hated it. I saw it with my mom. She was like, "This sucks." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not great." Then I stopped reading the
Sorry,
books.
mom.
Harry Potter, of course, technically young adult as well, but Maze Runner. Anyways, um, Lost Stars for me was a perfect balance of everything I love in fiction. Great romance, great two characters, great character arcs, great everything. Lost Stars is a perfect Star Wars story. And then yeah, The Last Jedi. We just had a again plugging hyperspace hype commentary. We did that on Wednesday. And The Last Jedi for me,
Nice.
I could talk about that movie for hours. Like
Yeah,
it means so much to me. Yeah, it's perfect.
it might be like it's up there with being probably my favorite film of all time. Honestly, like
It's
it's just
up
really
there.
special and it's well crafted and like just everything is so good.
That's what it is because we've been doing our Star Wars commentaries for the past 9 weeks now. And Last Jedi for me is just so special because it's so well crafted. I'll never forget leaving Last Jedi theater, and the first thought that came to my mind was, "This was the best and most character-driven Star Wars film." It just
Definitely.
like right off the page, you can just see clear arcs for all the characters: Finn, Poe, Rose, Kylo, Ben, Luke, Leia. Like all of them have great arcs that begin and end in Last Jedi, with room for imagination for the next journey after Last Jedi. Um, and I just love that movie so much. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. And then of course Empire. I always got forward between Empire and Last Jedi in terms of movies because growing
Honestly,
up,
I love it.
Empire was my favorite. Yeah, Empire was my favorite film growing
Yeah.
up. Whenever my dad was like, "Hey, Evan, what's your favorite movie?" And I'm like, I would probably say Empire. If I'm not mentioning Empire, then I'll probably go Seven. I love the movie Seven. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, Empire just had everything else, like a good romance. Like growing up, and now I appreciate the Han and Leia romance. It's my favorite part of Star
Yeah.
Wars, and one of my favorite scenes of all time is the "I Know" sequence on Bespin between Han and Leia. So all those, I think, I would probably say Empire and TLJ are a tie, and then Rebels, then Lost Stars. So yeah, funny
Yeah.
enough, me and Josh have the same list there because those are all peak fiction. Peak.
What about you guys, Preston, Edgar? What's your favorite Star Wars?
I think, you know, I haven't, full disclosure, have not read a Star Wars book ever.
Jesus
So
Christ.
yeah,
Yeah.
it kicked me out. Anyways, I'm just trying to be honest, so y'all know I'm not leaving them out intentionally. I just haven't read them. But anyways, you know, my favorite, and I know you guys have gone after me for this online, but my favorite is Attack of the Clones. And again, I will tell you why.
right?
I will tell you why.
It made sense.
My favorite is Attack of the Clones. It's something that I mentioned earlier. I grew up watching it all the time, more than almost any other movie. For me, it was really Lion King and Attack of the Clones, and we'll get into that kind of stuff,
Ooh,
stuff
yes.
later. But
Yeah.
those two movies are like, that's like cornerstone, like what I grew up on, all the time, watching. And it can be something so simple because, like, at the time I'm like 4 years old, so Attack of the Clones, I'm like, this is the one where Yoda fights. That's sick, and so that's why I love it. And so I watch it every single day because of that. And
The 2-second fight.
yeah, when Yoda whips out his lightsaber, I'm like, oh my god, Yoda has a lightsaber. That's so sick. So like that was, drew me in. And then I loved Hayden Christensen as well. I really liked his relationship with Obi-Wan. And this is just, again, these are musings from a 4-year-old Preston who loved that stuff. And now looking back, I rewatch it now and I'm like, I am not going to come out here and say that it's the best Star Wars movie. It's actually one of the worst, but that doesn't mean that I love it any less. That doesn't mean that I don't have that attachment to it. I remember I dressed up as Jango Fett for Halloween just because I thought his blue and silver armor was way cooler than Boba Fett's, and just like
So
Easily.
to me, like that was cool, and it still is cool to me. So yeah, I love Attack of the Clones, and then as far as favorites go, The Force Awakens is probably second there. Maybe tied with The Last Jedi. I love them both because, like I said, Last Jedi came at a very like personal moment for me in my life. But then The Force Awakens was what really like reinvigorated my love for Star Wars and is again one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. So yeah, I mean, I love them all in their own way. Some more than others, but I love it all. I think, you know, as far as TV goes, I love some episodes of The Mandalorian. I like almost all episodes of The Mandalorian, but I really love some episodes. And then I really enjoy the last couple seasons of Clone Wars a lot. And I like Rebels as well. I think Rebels is good, but I've always just thought I've always had a preference for Clone Wars. I don't know what it is. I think I like, you know, this is something that Trey and I have talked about a lot is I think I love Ahsoka a lot. And to me, she is, you know, I know she's not like the main character of Clone Wars, but she's definitely
she's a main.
She's one of the three. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, that's why I say I wouldn't say she's like the main character number one, but you know what I mean. I think that might be what has drawn me more to Clone Wars than Rebels because I like Ezra Bridger, but at the same time, I'm not like, you know, an Ezra Bridger stan in any way, shape, or form. And I like Sabine, but I'm not a Sabine stan. You know, I like Rebels, but I don't, you know, adore it. I'm not like, you know, gonna have a Rebels poster in my room, but Clone Wars I definitely love.
Honestly,
so,
like
you have any posters in your room?
This is not my room. This is not my room.
Okay.
This is an empty room I
Siege
have
of
in my
Mandalore
house.
is
nice.
Probably like grown to be probably my favorite like arc, I guess, of like any animated series in Star Wars. It's just like so well done, and every episode hits, every moment hits, and like the ending is so fantastic.
I love Siege of Mandalore so much. I'm like, is it better than Twilight of the Apprentice for me?
Yeah, I think it's just because it's like presented in a like more special way, you know, with like the chapters and the Lucasfilm limited logo.
Yeah, great stuff.
Edgar.
My favorite Star Wars thing. I don't know. I think it would have to come down to the most perfect thing to ever perfect, The Mandalorian. I'm joking.
Really?
The most perfect piece of media in all of existence. No flaws. There is nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
He didn't make it, so
and if you disagree, you're simply wrong.
Of course, I'm joking. My favorite.
John Favreau's like, what the hell?
My favorite Star Wars thing is it has to be The Last Jedi. It's just, it's just one of those movies like that. Every time that you watch it, you notice something new or something different. And whenever a movie can do that for me, it makes it even better than anything else out there. It makes it more rewatchable. It makes it more engaging. The characters are so good. I would agree. I think it was you, Evan, who pointed out that everybody gets a character arc. Nobody gets like more time than the other. Even though it probably they probably do get more time than the other, it doesn't feel that way. Like doesn't Kylo have like 15 minutes of screen time?
Yeah, him and Rey have like 16 each.
They're all like
and he feels
in the movie.
Yeah, and he feels like he has like such a huge role in. When that's not even not necessarily the case. But yeah, that would be for me The Last Jedi. Second place, I would probably say Empire or Rebels. Fun fact: I fell asleep during the Empire Strikes Back re-release, the last re-release.
When did that happen? When was the re-release?
I think it was still 2020.
It was 2020. They came out. They put it in theaters because they didn't have movies coming out.
What are you, narcolepsy?
Here I worked at right to week.
I loved that. Was my first movie coming back from the pandemic.
Oh
I
wow,
loved it.
A good one.
I thought it was so cool.
It was not mine. Wow. I think my first movie after the pandemic was I think it was Tenet, But
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
saw-
that's
Oh,
another.
I was
That's another
expecting you to say
Mine
conversation.
something
was
terrible.
Mortal Kombat.
Wow.
What a
the last movie that I watched in theaters before they closed again in 2020 was that oh fuck, what's it called?
Was it the Vin Diesel
was
movie?
Emma.
No.
Emma
Let
was
Him Go
Vin.
or something like that. I don't
Oh,
remember.
with Kevin Costner,
Yeah,
Right.
that one.
Yeah, I
And
never saw
Marissa
that.
Leo, I think. I forget. Yeah,
Superman
I'm gonna
Parent.
find what mine was now. I'm
that was a good movie.
curious.
Wait, I saw Tenet right when it came out. Like the day it came out, I went out and saw Tenet.
Yeah.
You
It's
heard
funny
it too,
Very true.
but you didn't hear the dialogue.
I didn't have a problem with the dialogue.
I couldn't hear
Pretty,
anything.
pretty
Anyways,
Bruh.
continue.
Yeah.
When that train passed by in the first like 10 minutes in that movie, my ears were gone.
Where did you guys see this
Awful.
movie? Dolby?
IMAX for
Even
me.
on home
Any
release, it
movie
was like,
theater.
It was fine.
Anyway,
hell yeah,
Star
Wolf.
Wars, I guess.
Yep, Wolf. Facts.
He gets
Yeah,
it.
that would be the Holy Trinity. Yeah. What else? I mean, I wish that I was more into like the High Republic right now. I read like some of the
Me
first
too.
books, but I haven't haven't read like all of them. I definitely haven't read the last one that came out.
Fallen
I think the last
Star.
one that I think the last one that I read was Into the Dark, I think.
Oh, Wreath,
That's
Silas,
48
and
Gray's
Coleman
first
Riders.
one. Right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Phase 1. That's a strong one.
I've only read the first like half of Light of the Jedi.
half.
I haven't read much.
Oh!
It's reading's hard for me, man.
you
But, like,
and
what I
Nathan
have
both.
read, it's
Jesus
been
Christ. And Preston. Yo, what podcast am I on? Get me out of here. Y'all can't read? Oh, what?
Also,
Don't you
This
guys
is
write
not a
articles
book.
and you guys
This
don't read?
podcast is not about books, Evan. Go find a book
Yeah,
podcast.
clearly.
You guys are some of you guys are
Good
journalists
Lord.
writing articles and it's like, oh, I don't read. Like, come on, get out of here.
well,
Make it make
last shout out for a book. I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorites, but it's definitely a fun read, especially leading up to the movie Catalyst
Love
for Rogue One.
Catalyst.
it's so
Oh
good.
my
That
God.
ending.
The ending is great.
That-
Who's Ben Mendelsohn's character again?
Krennic.
Krennic.
Krennic. Krennic was
Yeah.
an all-star in Catalyst.
Actually,
then I go into
actually
Rogue One. I'm
menacing.
like, what happened?
Yeah.
Another great tie-in book is Resistance Reborn. Have you guys read that?
yes,
For
yes.
I love that
Resist-
book.
Resistance
It made me
Reborn. We were just
love.
that was a Poe
was that
book,
a-
right? That was a Poe
Oh,
book.
that one.
Yeah, the Poe was like
I
before
didn't read
Troth.
it.
Yeah, it made me love Wedge Antilles so much more because there's a
Oh, yeah.
some good Wedge moments in that book.
Mm-hmm. Wedge is a very strong character. We were just talking about that book yesterday on Hyperspace Hype because Zoraida Cordova, I think she was the author. She's gonna be writing the main novel for Phase 2 of the High Republic. So I'm super excited to see what she brings to Star Wars again. Because Resistance Reborn, great book. I was so hyped for Rise of Skywalker, and then it came out. But yeah.
And then it came out, and then it did the crime of coming out.
it didn't have to come out. No,
It's frustrating because like that book does not tie in well to the movie in reality.
not at all, boy. Not at all.
There's so many
Well,
like
neither does the
threads
movie
in
that came
book
before
didn't
it.
happen.
I have a
Yeah.
question for you, Evan. Real
Hey,
quick.
hey, I want to go.
Since you guys were like on the floor when they actually released the teaser, like
On the
what
floor.
what was going through your head when you watched that teaser for the first time of the Rise of Skywalker?
What the fuck?
I'm not gonna lie. I was hyped. I remember because
Yeah,
I'm always
you cannot
I'm
be
always
hyped.
optimistic. I'm always optimistic, and the Palpatine stuff was rumored. I remember Christian Harloff from Jedi Council was like, "This would be a great idea." I'm like,
Christian
"That's
fucking
stupid,
Harloff called
stupid idea." I was pissed. I was like, "They're never gonna do that. They're never gonna do that." And then it was teased, and I saw Ian McDarman, and I'm like, "Okay, that got me hyped." There's a lot of I still contend. There's a lot of interesting things they could have done with Palpatine in a story.
Yeah,
Palpatine
not
is
like
not the
have
issue.
his
It's
reasoning for come
Yeah.
back being fucking Fortnite.
yeah. I mean, Palpatine's not the issue. It's how they used him. I think Palpatine Wolf. if White Wolf is still in here, Wolf had a
That
great.
Fortnite thing, man. I hated that so
It's
much.
so weird.
Pissed me
somebody-
off.
Somebody mind
Yeah,
explaining
it's a
that because
fine
honestly,
love
I've
character.
forgotten.
Oh, I mean, for the Fortnite thing, it was just basically Palpatine's proclamation, right? That he was like,
Yeah, like in the
That-
What's
movie
the
they
message
say.
that was referenced in the movie?
Yeah, in the movie they're like Palpatine sent out a message to the galaxy, but they don't say what it was. But if you played Fortnite, you could hear it because it's sent out to the Fortnite island. Cool.
yeah. I was on the island there when it happened. I was hyped, and I thought like, oh, for sure, this is going to be on because wasn't that before the movie?
That was like a few weeks before, yeah.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
like,
it was
oh,
it was like a marketing thing, but
that's a
I
total
don't
thing.
know.
But like, speaking of Tross, I still think that first trailer is like one of the best trailers of all time. Honestly, it's just so it's so crap. It's so done. I think so. It's just so hype. Like the Emperor laugh, the title drop, the Ray jumping over the Whisper.
Ooh,
It's just like
doesn't
For
that's
what?
one.
Why did she jump over?
But who
She's
cares for
to look
what?
cool. Right?
The trailer
Doesn't
by
Kylo
itself
say
is-
like I know you, or what was the line in the trailer?
That was in
It
the
doesn't make
TV
it
spot,
into
I think.
Let the past die.
No,
Kill it if you have to.
great quote.
It was like
I've blocked out this movie from my mind.
Because she's like, nobody knows who I am or whatever. He's like, but I do.
I do.
And I was like, oh, I'm hyped. And it wasn't in the movie. I'm like, come on. That had me hyped. I was still on board. I
Okay,
remember,
so I have a question.
yeah, sure.
Are we good?
Yeah, we're good.
So since Last Jedi is among like our favorites, our favorite probably. What's your favorite scene in Last Jedi?
That's a good question.
Mine has
Can I go?
I'd like to start.
Yeah,
I have a couple. Okay, Preston, you do it. Yeah.
You press
No,
yeah.
go for it, Josh.
Yeah.
That sounds like a threat.
One.
Go for it, please.
Probably my favorite is lesson 1 with the
Yeah.
like Wood's first lesson. It's just like
Yeah,
such an
that
interesting.
was Carson's first favorite too.
Yeah, it's such an interesting like ideology of the Force explained by Luke, and like the way it's shot intermixed with like Rey on the rock, all the like different aspects of Octo and the light side, the dark side, the balance. It's just so good.
Yeah, that's a strong scene.
And
I love that
also
one so much.
the main climax, is it the climax? But like the climax of the second act when the Hollow maneuver happened, when Rose and Finn are about to do, like the editing in that scene is fantastic. With like the music, it's so good.
I remember watching that scene in the theater and just like, obviously thinking in my head, everybody else in this theater is loving this as much as me. Oops. But anyways, I remember watching it in the theater. Yeah, it did, didn't it? whenever you would think, but whenever the Hollow maneuver happens and it's just that sound is like ingrained in my mind.
Silence
still.
too. The silence.
Everybody went quiet in my theater.
I just remember the theater just being like, "Oh my god!" Like, holy
Mhm.
shit! Like that it was just the most like mind blowing thing. But and again, like the build up toward it, obviously the throne room scene for me, that was when that happened. I just remember like there was so much hype and speculation around this movie, and I hadn't had anything spoiled. I didn't know. I thought they were going to reveal like Snoke was some like, I don't know. There was the Darth Plagueis stuff that people thought Snoke was Darth Plagueis, and I definitely thought that was a possibility. I don't know. So like, I just remember like wondering like, what is Snoke going to be? And I have never had an experience like this in a theater before, and still haven't since. But whenever Kylo kills Snoke and then like brings the lightsaber and Rey catches it, that moment, I remember I've never had an experience in a theater where so many thoughts are rushing through my head all at once, because the first thought is like, oh my God, this is dope as hell. Like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And then the second thought was, wait, Snoke is dead. Like, wait, right? And then the third thought was, okay, so Kylo's the big bad guy now. And then the fourth thought was, wait, but he's working with Rey. How does that work? I was just like, I've never been so just like, what is happening right now? And I loved it all. I was so hooked by it. But at the same time, I just remember like, I've never had an experience in a theater where I was so shocked and so just like confused, but also so invested at the same time most of the time when you're shocked and confused by a movie, you hate it, kind of like The Rise of Skywalker. But with The Last Jedi, I was just like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm strapped in. Like, I'm ready for whatever happens next. It was just, it was just the most incredible moment to see for the first time in theaters.
Yeah, it was so visceral for me because I tried to stay away from leaks, but all the way getting into 2017, I was like all deep into like Last Jedi stuff because I was like, are Kylo and Rey going to kiss in this movie? What's going to happen with her? What's going to happen with the relationship? I was fully
that was your number. That
was my thing. That was my thing.
Kiss?
That was me with Game of Thrones.
And Ben Demption. Like I was like, is he going to be redeemed in this one? Are they going to save it for Tross? I was like, it's going to happen. There were so many naysayers. And then it happens in the throne room. And I'm like, oh, this is what I've been envisioning in my head, like between 2015 and 2017. And then the end of the throne room scene with the whole hand and everything, that was incredible. But I think my number one favorite scene in TLJ is the hut scene, their third Force vision. Because it's so well edited and well shot. Because the whole time Rey had just witnessed her revelation in the dark side cave that like it's all about her. She felt so lonely, and then she's like, you think she's talking to the audience, you don't know who she's talking to, and then it's revealed that she's talking to Ben, and Ben just like reciprocates those feelings. He's like, I know. It's like she's like, I feel so lonely. He's like, I know. And then they share that touch, and I'm just like losing my mind. Kylo's like emotional. Adam's performance there, Daisy's performance there. It's one of my favorite Star Wars scenes ever. Like the lighting and everything. It was everything I wanted in a regular scene, especially because again, given the leaks, I thought Adam or Kylo was going to be on Octo. I thought they were going to be meeting on the island.
The set pictures.
It never happened, but we had Adam literally traveled to the island just for that hand scene. Yep. AKA the hand sex scene, of course. Exactly. And I remember that being revealed after TLJ came out. People are like, that doesn't mean anything. I'm like, come on. They are telling us Raylo was real and people still doubted me all the way up to Tross. Like, Jesus Christ. I still won. That's where I got the kiss. It was 2 years late, but yeah.
Yeah. For me, my favorite moment from The Last Jedi, I just, in general, like, especially in blockbusters, I love when a movie takes, like, its time to give the characters, like, a quiet moment. Like, all of this, like, all of the action and the climax and all of this, it's great, it's fun, but what's the point if you don't really care? And for me, like, probably my favorite moment from that movie. What the fuck is you laughing at?
Nothing. I don't know. What's your favorite moment from the movie? Jeez. Please. I want to hear it.
The greatest teacher failure is.
Oh, the Yoda.
Yeah. I mean, because like Luke is like King Arthur of Star Wars, and Yoda, you could say it's like his Merlin, and just having this like very intimate moment of these two iconic heroes in film just basically telling to the audience like, hey, it's okay that you fuck up once in a while, like you can get back up, like don't worry about it. Like it's such a powerful moment that it doesn't really matter like if you watched it back then or revisit it anytime that you watch the movie, it still fucking like hits like close to home. So that would be my favorite moment from that movie.
Wow, yeah. That was a great moment because the whole movie, Luke is just having a very, I said this on the podcast, Hyperspace Hype, that it's very cliche. Like I walked into TLJ knowing Luke's going to be the curmudgeon sensei character who doesn't want to get into the fight, but later does reluctantly. But the way they do it, by having Yoda come in here, him accepting that he failed Ben and almost failed Rey, and then having Yoda kind of guide him to his next journey was fantastic. I love that scene.
Mm-hmm.
I think also.
So I know we almost spent Preston, you have more.
We haven't mentioned one scene, and I wasn't going to until somebody else did, but no one else did. Very quickly, the climax of that scene of that movie, where Luke is force projecting himself onto Craig.
Yeah,
like that is just the ultimate display of Jedi-ness, if you will, just
Mhm.
like just no aggression whatsoever. It's just I think about a lot of the time how difficult it must be to like create well, obviously it's impossible to make a Star Wars movie, but to make a Star Wars movie where you appease the fans by creating an exciting action and cool, basically Michael Bay cool shit. You want to make cool stuff happen in an action movie, in any action movie. You want it to look cool. But then you've got this whole issue of like the Jedi code of like they're not gonna be the aggressors, they fight for peace, and sometimes that means they don't fight at all, and they don't get angry and all that. Just it's so contradictory to what an action movie demands, I think, a lot of the time. And so the way that's handled in the climax of The Last Jedi, where Luke just projects himself to Crate, he doesn't attack, he doesn't harm anyone, but he distracts the First Order enough to where the they can get away.
Yeah.
It's really well done, and I think it's the clearest display of like what the Jedi what the Jedi are, and what
I think
that
this
stands for.
Yeah.
I think the scoring there is like some of John Williams' best too. Like,
Oh
the
yeah,
Spark
oh yeah,
is
The spark
yeah.
is
Spark.
gorgeous.
so good. And it's one of the best lightsaber duels in Star Wars. Just top 5 for me
Mhm.
easily.
But it's not a duel.
No,
I need you to speak in that voice for the rest of the show. Okay?
please don't.
He said, "But it's not a duel."
I'll try.
Josh, what
Anyway,
were you gonna
So,
Go read the
unless you guys
Bible,
have,
people.
Mm.
unless you guys have more to say about Star Wars, I know we spent like almost an hour, but
Yeah.
we love it. We love it.
That's how we do
But
it. Yeah.
let's start to branch out to other films and stuff in pop culture that we love. If anyone wants to start,
There's other films besides Star Wars? What do you mean? I've never heard of that.
I know, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I have only watched Star Wars on a loop.
He
For
only
my
watches
entire
Star Wars
life.
and Sonic.
Oh, God.
And Sonic the Hedgehog.
Jeez. Who goes first?
Someone want to bring something to talk about?
I mean, I can bring up something. I guess the one film genre that I never could get into as a kid, but now I fucking love it. Horror. Preston's favorite topic.
Same.
Me too.
I don't
Funny-
do horror. It's just not my thing. I'm sorry. I don't enjoy it. So if I can't enjoy it, then I can't appreciate it the way that you guys can.
I'm the same way. I got into it late.
Yeah,
me
But
too.
recently I've watched a lot of horror.
yeah.
So yeah. I totally agree with this.
Infamously not loving Ari Aster.
Oh, he's
Yeah,
garbage. But
man.
yeah, continue on.
No.
Trash.
No, but like the funny thing about
Wow.
Josh just you abuse that power.
relentless,
Hey, I have the power.
Crazy.
So might as well use it.
unlimited power.
Wow.
Unlimited
Um,
The horror film that Edgar was talking about, though.
Yeah. No. Oh, well. Okay. Here it is. The funny thing about the horror genre is that everybody around me growing up loved horror movies. My sister, my mom, my cousins, my uncles and aunts, like everybody was into horror, and I was the only one who like couldn't stand it. And one of the many reasons, being kind of ridiculous, but like, my grandmother from my mom's side fucking loved to like fuck with me, so she bought like this like Chucky doll, and she would like sometimes like put it like on my room. So when I would wake up, I would fucking see it right there.
That's
Even
fucked up.
That's
even
messed up. Yeah.
even though like Chucky is like whatever, like he's not even that serious. But like as a kid, like if you haven't seen the movies, you don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's one of the main reasons why I hated the genre.
Okay.
But I really started getting into the horror genre with The Conjuring back in 2013.
Wow.
And I didn't watch it at the movies. I actually, like, everybody like as a family went, but like half of the family went to see The Conjuring, and the other half, including me, went to see Pacific Rim, because I think they released like around the same
Wow.
Same time.
Summer 2013.
Yeah,
Like I think June or July.
yeah, Man of Steel, baby. Um, but yeah, it wasn't until it came out like on home video that I watched it,
Mhm.
and I don't know, I kind of had like that like real realization of like why people were so into horror movies, and it kind of hit me like the fact that like at the end of the day, uh, at the end of the day, horror is like for me at least, it's like as a way to like confront like your fears through like a safe like environment, like you can watch somebody fucking stabbing people or whatever and it's over after after 2 hours. Don't get scared, Pat. But yeah, like, and The Conjuring, it's a funny movie for it to be like your first horror movie because it plays out more as a drama than it does a horror movie. And the
For sure.
cinematography in that movie, uh, excellent.
So good.
Um,
It's
yeah.
funny for me, Conjuring. I watched it. I think a year after it came out. I think I watched it in 2014. I didn't see it in theaters as well, um, but I remember that time. I remember seeing Pacific Rim. I do though, but I saw it again. 'Cause I didn't really like it that much. I wasn't really into horror, but then I saw it again last year on the build up to Conjuring, the third one. I forget what the title is. Um,
The devil made me do it.
oh
It's
yeah.
honestly when
Oh
I
gosh,
watched it for the
that
first
voice got to
time
go.
leading up to Conjuring 3.
Nice.
That was
My
my first
favorite horror
viewing.
movie
Yeah.
is the 2015 film Fantastic Four by horror legend Josh Trank.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
That's my
Poor
I
guy.
thought you were gonna say Fantastic Beast.
Yeah.
No, well, we'll see. We'll
That's a
come back in a
snooze
couple
fest.
weeks. Let me know.
But yeah, Conjuring, such a well crafted movie. James Wan is a master in that movie. It's a perfect movie. I rewatching it, I'm like, I don't see a flaw in this at all. That and the Conjuring 2 are super, super strong horror films.
Yeah.
My favorite horror movie still though is The Thing. I love that movie to death. The Thing is just such a great movie with Kurt Russell. Great cast, great mystery, great effects. But yeah, horror for me also. I'm with Edgar. Like I got into it late, but really love it now. Besides
Yeah.
Ari Aster.
Yeah, I have a similar story with horror. Like, I was the kid who was afraid of the Haunted Mansion ride at Disneyland.
Oh, I thought you meant the movie. I'm like,
No, I mean, that movie's
really?
trash, but
What?
it's bad.
It's fun. I haven't rewatched it in over a decade, but
To this day, I am still afraid, and I won't ride it. Of the Tower of Terror in Hollywood Studios at Disney World.
Really?
It's terrifying.
Wow.
But that's not why I won't ride it. I won't ride it because it gives me a headache for the rest of the day every time I do it, so I don't do
Yeah.
it. But I'm also terrified of the dinosaur ride in Animal Kingdom. Long story short, I get terrified of things very easily,
Oh wow.
Yeah, but
which
yeah,
is why I have nothing to add to the horror discussion.
but yeah, I was that kid who was like scared. I was not into horror at all. But then I watched like a few, probably like 2017. I sat down and watched The Shining for the first time, and like I was like, I'd never like discovered that side of horror that is not just jump scares, but it's also like atmospheric and psychological, which is like my vibe for horror. That's what I love when it comes to horror. So when I first watched it, I was like, ooh, I can get into this. So then I slowly like watched, let's say, Hereditary, and I can't think of
Banger.
anything else. But then like, yeah. But in I think 2018, 2019, I stumbled upon The Haunting of Hill House, which remains to this day to be my favorite horror like media ever. It's like I love that series to death, and
It's up
I
there,
put
yeah.
in one of my favorite storytellers, honestly, and this is something so fascinating with balancing trauma and horror together so well that yeah, I prefer that horror, the more like experimental stuff, not just slashers and jump scares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the funny thing about like discovering horror like after The Conjuring is that I didn't went like straight to like the jump scares kind of movies. I went more for like the classics, and I don't know, I kind of feel bad for saying this because of who's behind the camera of this movie, but like I remember watching Rosemary's Baby like around that time frame, And yeah, I
I
remember
know.
watching that movie, and I don't know, it was just like I didn't really like know that that genre could like go there, like to do like
Yeah.
the psychological horror, like the body horror, like and the ending of that movie is just like it's still like probably one of my favorites. Again, even though I kind of feel like an asshole for saying this, but
I still haven't seen the
um
movie for reasons, but
yeah,
yeah. But I've heard like wonderful things, obviously.
yeah. So yeah, that's one of those classics that I went to revisit. Obviously, Halloween, another classic. The
Halloween's
Omen
my favorite
with
slasher.
Evil dies
It's really
tonight.
good. Evil dies tonight.
I still need to see that movie. I haven't seen it yet.
you haven't
It's
seen
not
it?
good.
No.
I have seen Halloween Kills, and that's it.
Can you walk us through that experience as somebody who doesn't
Me?
like horror? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can.
Yeah, you haven't seen horror,
Gladly.
but you saw Halloween Kills.
Well, I wasn't sober when I did.
Oh.
Thank God.
That's close.
Halloween Kills. I mean, what is there to say about that movie? Literally, like it's bad. It's a bad movie.
Horrible.
Not
Like
about the movie, but about watching it.
that's why I didn't like. That's why it didn't affect me. Is like it's so
Yeah.
bad that like the jump scares that would have gotten to me in a good movie didn't affect me because I just didn't care what was going on screen. Any like
Jeez.
well-crafted horror movie that I've seen, the reason that I don't watch them is because it scares me so much, and I get invested, and because I'm invested, when the jump scares happen or when the thrilling stuff happens, that freaks me out, and I don't know. For some reason, one thing or another, I can't do it. It's not my thing. I don't enjoy it the way that some people really enjoy horror movies. I just don't have that. I'm not drawn to enjoy it the way that a lot of people are. I kind of wish I was, so that I could appreciate, film as an art form on a grander scale than I do. But it's just not something that I find enjoyment in all the time. So unless a horror movie is like, I'm almost never going to show up to a horror, opening night. But if something gets like really good reviews, like I didn't watch Get Out until a long time after it had come out. And that's not even as, I guess, as horror
It's less
as
horror
a
and
lot of
more like
other
thriller.
Horror thriller.
Yeah. But I didn't even watch that until months later. I think because it didn't come out that summer. I think
Yes,
of
it did.
2017.
Yeah.
I want to say, I didn't watch it till like October. Because by then it had gotten just rave reviews, and it was like, oh my God, this is a huge, like almost like a cultural moment that movie was. And that's when I was like, okay, yeah, I'll watch it. Like I'm interested, and I want to see what Jordan Peele can do behind the camera, because all I've seen him in is Key and Peele. So like, this is interesting to me. So, and since then I've watched a little bit. I mean, I watched the It movies, and I like the first
Not
one.
great.
I like them. I like them both.
First
I think
one
the
is
first
good.
one's pretty good.
Second one's not
It's
good.
fine. It's fine.
Yeah, and that was just because I was intrigued by Pennywise as a character. I was like, that guy looks cool. I want to see the rest. So yeah, I don't know. Horror for me is very just like, I get invested by a good horror movie, and because I'm invested, it freaks me out more because I'm glued to the screen. And where some people feel enjoyment and thrill from that, I feel horror. So.
How was watching Scream, by the way, with that mentality?
Oh, I loved Scream. Actually, I loved Scream. I'm actually like, I know Josh is gonna like give me grief from it, but like because I haven't watched the second one yet.
Wait, you saw Scream 4, 5?
No, the first one.
He's only seen
the
the
'96.
I
Oh,
watched the
okay.
original Scream,
which is still, I think, like
I
on another level compared to like the rest
that
of
was
the sequels.
so
That's my
great. Like I was so, and I knew the spoiler. Like I knew who the killer
Really?
was. But I still, just the whole time, I was so enthralled by it, and the jump scares didn't really get to me. There's not many, at all. But even like the scary moments just didn't really get to me because the whole thing is just a farce on horror movies in general. And anything that is self-aware and slightly making fun of horror movies, even if it is a horror movie in and of itself, I'm gonna love it because I don't like horror movies. So if it's making fun of horror movies a little bit, I can enjoy it more. So I don't know, that original Scream, and also just the script is so tight for that movie. Like it is incredibly written.
It is genius. I remember I didn't initially like the first Scream because I'm like, this is way too meta for me. But I revisited it last year in the lead up to Scream 5. And I love that movie a lot.
Scream
Especially
is what we call it.
Wow. Did not know that. 5 Scream. Cool. 5 Scream.
5 Cream.
5 Scream. I'm not saying that.
All new movie.
But it's so like what's the director? And yeah, like so the killer's using the right hand. The killer like does this before they slash. So it's this guy, not this one. And the way they run, like it's so like methodical in terms of like the kills and the characters and what they say in that movie. It's so like well written. I was surprised on my rewatch. And then Scream 2, 3, and 4 are all fun in their own ways. 3 is kind of the weak one. And Scream 5 this year, one of my favorite movies of this year. I think it's still in my top 10. I mean, I've only seen like 12 movies or 13
That
movies.
Ryan Johnson joke is like
it's in my
so
top
great.
10, but there are 12 total.
I said top 10, then I realized like I didn't see that many movies this year.
It's my third to last movie, but it's in my top 10.
I should think how many movies I've seen this year. Not as many as Edgar and Josh, crazy ass. But
they watch bad movies for fun. Can you believe that, Evan?
Edgar does. It's not me.
I mean, I saw Deep Water last night. Oh boy!
Oh, so good.
Boy. That movie
though. That's a fun one.
There was a moment I was like in tears laughing. I'm like, is this happening right now? I mean, it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Every shot of Ben Affleck on the bike is just fucking incredible.
It's great. It's great. Oh god, that movie's hilarious.
That movie does count on the topic though, because it tries at least to be a horror thriller, but
it tries to be a sexual thriller without any of the sexual tension, without any of the thriller. It's just a comedy.
There's some tension in there. Those are two.
Not really. I didn't feel. Oh, two hot people. There's two hot people in Mission Impossible. Like, no, I mean, yeah, they're solid. They're fine.
I felt some chemistry there. I'll admit that.
There's chemistry.
Not the most,
sexual chemistry. Not feeling it. There was no eroticism in that movie at all. At all.
Goddamn autocorrect.
Goddamn autocorrect. I'm like, what is happening? Like every scene in that movie had me saying, "What is happening?" Deep Water. It's crazy. This had to be intentionally bad. Like there's no way. Oh gosh.
Is this Trenches?
What bottle was he on? Yeah, Deep Water is something else. But in terms of horror for me, yeah, I love The Thing, and I'm with Josh as well though. Like I think Mike Flanagan, the king of emotional horror, so really got me into a lot more horror stuff. I love Haunting of Hill House. My brother just finished Midnight Mass. I saw like the ending scene of that last night.
Have you seen it though?
With him.
Have you seen all of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I watched Midnight Mass when it first came out. Because
he doesn't Mike Flanagan. He doesn't really get credit for probably making the best nostalgia sequel. Like
Dr. Sleep is.
Dr. Sleep. That bomb. I remember being so pissed that bomb. Yeah, that's a masterpiece.
So good.
So good. I think that was my first Mike Flanagan thing I've ever seen, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I saw.
I watched Hill House like leading into it.
I think it was afterwards for me. And I'm like, I gotta read stuff.
I think my first one was Oculus, and I didn't even know who he was at the time, but I just watched it.
I still haven't seen Oculus.
Really, Oculus is fantastic.
I need to watch Oculus. It's still on Hulu. Fantastic. I need to watch.
I think it's on something, but like.
Remember the apple, Evan, when you watched that movie?
Oh no! Remember the tooth as well.
Oh my god!
Remember the tooth. Remember the apple. God,
that ending in Oculus is something else. It's insane. Evan, you need to watch it.
Yeah. Should I watch that or Deep Water again?
Also, Flanagan's first film. I'm blanking on the name of it. It's also I went back and watched his whole filmography leading up to Midnight Mass, or I think after Midnight Mass or something. And Absentia. his first film. It's low budget,
never
but
heard
it's
of that.
still really good and solid.
You guys need to watch the new A24 movie X. It's
I'm
at
just
least
trying
for
to see it
me,
tomorrow. Yeah.
it's so fucking good. Like, if I were to compare it to something else, I would probably say it's a more fun and intelligent version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, imagine that concept mixed with like the commentary from Scream, sorta. That's how I would describe it. But it's really good. I don't know if Evan would like it since he's a A24 hater, but
A24 hater.
He's an Ari
I'm just an
Aster
Ari.
hater.
I'm just an Ari Aster hater, and for good reason, because the movies are not great at all.
I will
I
say
mean,
I'm not a huge fan of Midsommar. Didn't do much for me.
Really,
The first half
Yeah.
is pretty solid. It's a good drama, and then it just
ending though,
tanks.
like
It tanks.
the bear
It's a
suit,
good ending.
the
A good
last
ending shot. Yeah, last shot is solid. Not great stuff.
Okay,
Um,
so since Preston's not interested, let's talk about something you are interested in, Preston. What do you want to? What do you want to talk about?
Disneyland.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, what general topic? Our favorite movies of all time. My number one is The Lion King. I mentioned earlier, growing up, it was really The Lion King, Attack of the Clones were like the two movies that I watched all the time as a little kid. And so since then, The Lion King is one that, and I still love Attack of the Clones, but like The Lion King is one that I still will, like, I'll go back and watch that all the time. That movie, I genuinely believe it to be the best movie of all time. I haven't seen every movie of all time, but I think that The Lion King is the best one I've seen. Just the way it's interesting to me because I don't know. Do you guys know the story behind The Lion King? Like how the drama behind the scenes of when it was getting made? Josh, you might know.
Is it a story like
does
they were
that
trying
have
to
to
make
do
something
with,
else and they made Lion King?
Is it Howard Ashman? Is it that? What happened with him?
Oh, I don't know. But I don't think that's what I'm talking about.
No, probably not.
No, basically, it's interesting because basically they were just coming off of Beauty and the Beast. And Beauty and the Beast at the time, I believe, was one of, if not the first animated movie to get nominated for Best Picture.
Correct.
Yeah. So like massive success for Disney, like unparalleled, like never before seen success for Disney animation. And so they're like, okay, we got to follow it up with something. And so they had two movies they were working on at the same time.
Yeah, I remember.
And they said, okay, this one, we've got two movies. Number one is this epic love story set in Native America where a young Native American princess falls in love with John Smith.
Oh, interesting.
And it's going to be beautiful and really interesting and like totally going to captivate the audiences. And obviously that ended up being Pocahontas. And then we have this other one that's Hamlet with lions. That was it. And like all of the best animators, the best artists, pretty much everybody who, everybody who had a history at Disney went with Pocahontas because that was the clear ticket seller after Beauty and the Beast. They were like, this is the one that can follow it up. And Lion King became a laughingstock within the studio. And I mean,
Really?
From what I understand, is Lion King was looked down upon a lot. It was the movie no one wanted to be a part of. It wasn't going to sell any tickets. Disney was not confident in it whatsoever. It was just this lion movie. They didn't know if it was going to work. It was a long shot. It was weird, and it wasn't. Pocahontas was the one that they really were like, this is our next Beauty and the Beast. This is our next big moment. It's really interesting now because you look back and you're like, oh wow, like Lion King is still this thing that we're talking about. And obviously like
It's
they
timeless.
made the live action one, they are making a live action prequel, whatever, it's a big deal still. And Pocahontas is, it's good, but it's
solid.
It's fine. It's Pocahontas, I mean, nobody's like, you don't meet a lot of I guess
Pocahontas is
people,
the best.
yeah, you don't meet a lot of people who will
You
say
don't see that,
Pocahontas is
yeah.
the best movie, whereas
Nah.
Lion King is just such a big deal still.
Colors of the Wind slaps though. That's a good song.
Oh yeah,
Great
no,
song.
Pocahontas is good. I like Pocahontas, but it's not
I
the
haven't
Lion
seen the
King.
movie.
Do they even have any merchandise for it, like nowadays for Pocahontas?
I've
Not
seen
really.
a couple items in the parts, but not
They'll
much.
do some. They do some stuff with Miko because he's cute and a raccoon.
Who's Miko? Wait, the record. Okay.
He's the raccoon. But yeah, I mean, Lion King for me, and just as I've grown, I've loved it even more. Is because it's still. I mean, everybody knows Mufasa dies, and I'll still cry. I've seen it countless times, but that moment is so well executed, and the whole movie is just the themes jump straight off the screen. It's the whole idea of the circle of life. Life begins, it ends. You're gonna die someday, and that's okay. It is a children's movie that confronts you with the idea of mortality more than anything I've ever seen. It's like everything has a beginning and everything has an end, including you. That's okay. That's life, and just I don't know. Obviously, and then you can get into how the music, every single song is an absolute banger, and Elton John is a genius, and I'm so glad that I'm a massive Elton John fan as well. But just the whole thing is just so.
Favorite song from the Lion King?
Oh God, I think
Like
I've gone. It's like growing up, Hakuna Matata was number one. I mean, that's like that's still I think the most. I would say that's the most like. I don't know if it's the most iconic, but it's definitely like the most Disney song of any movie or of any song in that movie. But I think as time has gone on, I've come to appreciate "Be Prepared" the most. That's the song itself
it was
is
fucking
great.
cut from the remake. How dare they?
Yeah, that was the most disappointing thing. It was just ugh.
My favorite is
yeah.
I don't think it's from Lion King 1. Real quick, actually, Preston, what are your thoughts on Lion King 2?
Lion King 2, I don't remember much of.
Oh,
I think I probably watched it a few times when I was a kid. You know what? I really liked Lion King 1.5 as a kid.
1.5 is
so
great.
meta. And that was the first that was the first thing that I ever watched that was like meta. It was like
super meta.
And nowadays, I like, stuff like that. Like I remember being a teenager and watching Deadpool and thinking like, he looks at the camera and he mentions that he's in a movie. That's awesome. But like as a kid, like Lion King 1.5 was that for me. So I loved that. I think there was a portion of time where I was like, Lion King 1.5 is my favorite movie ever. Just when I was like a kid, I thought it was so cool that they did that.
I remember being a kid and like begging my mom because I walked into Target and I saw Lion King special edition. And I'm like, we have to get this. This is a new Lion King movie. My mom was like, Evan, it's the same movie. I'm like, but I need to see special edition. And it was just like extra behind the scenes footage and stuff like that. And more HD. But Lion King for me is still in my top 5 movies of all time. I adore that movie. Like even like I always say, outside of the anime realm, I think Lion King is the best animated movie of all time.
Really,
it's one of the best movies of all time. It's top 5 easily. I love Lion King so much.
I've never Disney movie of all time. I love that movie, yeah, but it's never been my favorite Disney movie.
It's just no.
What is
Josh? Whatever it is, it's wrong. What is? Okay, but Lion King and Beauty and the Beast. Lion King and Beauty and the Beast are the best.
Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin were more like my Renaissance films. Those are like ones that spoke to me more, and the songs I thought were better, and just like the characters I thought were better in those movies, especially Beauty and the Beast. Like that, those songs are so good.
Beauty and the Beast is peak. Oh yeah, God,
that's probably my favorite like Disney Renaissance movie is Beauty and the Beast.
Taylor's Oldest Time.
It's so timeless. God. Yeah. But I'd say like my favorite childhood movie, the movie I watched the most as a kid, the movie that was I think was probably my first theatrical movie was Monsters Inc.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
That's a good one.
It's one of my favorite movies of all time. It's just the animation's gorgeous. The story, like the dynamics with Mike and Sully are so good. Boo is like one of the most adorable characters in cinema,
That
and
ending.
Oh,
the
yeah.
ending still
Tears.
gets me. It's
Oh, come on.
so
Yeah.
powerful. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's funny
I,
because another Pixar movie was also my first like um, theatrical experience, which
oh,
was Finding
Incredibles?
Nemo.
Oh,
No, Finding,
Mm.
which is funny
Nemo.
because
Yeah,
like
that's
2004,
up there for
2002?
me too.
2003, 2004. I remember when it came out. Funny fact
Yeah.
about me: I hated going to the movie theaters. Like I was fucking scared shitless. I don't know why, honestly.
What a
That's why he
character arc.
watches bad Netflix movies now because he can watch them at home.
Probably,
Thunder
yeah.
Force.
Makes sense now.
This man has
But,
willingly
Force.
watched Thunder Force.
Don't remind me. No, but like the funny thing, like I don't know if you guys get this. Like you don't really remember like things from early in your life, but you
Mhm.
only get like these like flashes of like these
Yeah, I
like
did that too.
images,
Mhm.
and
That's what literally me with Revenge of the Sith and Burger King. Continue.
yeah.
Me
Okay.
with Cars,
Um,
surprisingly. I remember that being like
Cars.
it came years
Didn't
after,
that come out in?
but one I would vividly remember watching in theaters.
Yeah, and I remember with Finding Nemo, like I remember like two frames from that movie. One of them being like I forgot his fucking name. The shark, the big one, the big
Bruce.
one,
Bruce.
Bruce. Of course it's called Bruce. Yeah, that image when like the first shot when you see him like smiling, that's like one of like it's like stuck in my head. Like that's
Yeah.
one thing that I
It's
remember.
a great shot.
And yeah, and I think the second one, if I remember correctly, is when they actually take Nemo, like when he's like following the boat,
Oh, my
which is
God. Heartbreak.
heartbreaking. Yeah,
I
but like
Heartbreak feels
go.
good.
When
Yeah.
Heartbreak feels so good.
I was just gonna say, like, I rewatched Finding Nemo last year, and I say currently, for the last 2 years, I've been going through a Pixar rewatch. I am about halfway through, but Finding Nemo is number one right now, and
Wow.
that movie, it's still like the script is so tight. It's so tight. Every single scene is like has a purpose for either the characters or the plot, but every single scene mostly has a purpose for both. And the animation in that movie, it's either 2003 or 2004. I can't remember.
I gotta know now. 'Cause I think Incredible is 2004.
Yeah,
2000
it
wait,
might be 2003.
It is.
But
2003 because I think
I'll
look it
Monsters
up.
Inc. was
yeah,
2004.
regardless, the animation in that movie, especially like
Oh,
I remember very vividly the
2003
scene
was
where
Nemo.
2003. Yeah. I mean,
Monsters Inc. was
that's 1
2001
year.
actually.
What a run.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It's crazy. I mean, I remember the scene where Marlin, like when they first lose Nemo, and Marlin is like, he kind of goes up to the surface of the water for a little bit, and he looks out.
Yes.
And all he sees is open
Mhm.
ocean. But just like the animation in that scene, obviously, like the emotion is really there because they
Yeah,
hammer like
Gorgeous.
Marlon and Nemo's
He's
relationship
still holds
is
frantic.
up.
so damn good. It's so well
Uh-huh.
written, but the animation in it is just like it looks real. It's about as good as you'd see in
Mhm.
Moana, and Moana is one of the best animated movies, like one of the best like visually animated movies.
And they're
that I've
over a
ever
decade
seen.
apart.
Yeah,
I
Mhm.
feel
exactly.
Monsters Inc. is like that too. Like
It's
the fur
incredible
looks
how
so
well
good
it's
on just
aged.
monsters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mhm.
low key, like early 2000s Pixar is like Pixar.
It's
Like
so good.
like
They
That
went on
bang
an
run
after
from
bang.
incredible
Toy
run.
Story 2 to like what
Yes.
Ratatouille,
Wall-E,
Wally. It's like a
Mhm.
decade and all
Yeah,
bangers.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Up, which I'm not a
Up.
huge fan of, but
Hey now,
Up is
Up's
next on my
fantastic.
rewatch.
That
Up
was
is
a
next on my
movie.
rewatch, and I'm excited because for like about a year when I was like, I don't remember when that came out. Either I was like 10 or 11, but that was my most anticipated movie. I was very excited for it, and I loved
Up?
it. So
I used to be like
yeah,
Evan and Edgar, where I was like meh on Up. Then I rewatched it last year and I was like, wow,
And now
this
you're more like
actually
meh.
hits
Yeah.
so well.
I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to watch it nowadays. I
I,
haven't seen it in a while.
I watched it for the first time a couple years ago. And like people were hyped about this shit. It's good. It's
Yeah.
fine.
I think
It,
just
it,
the
it's
relationship between Carl and Russell is just so strong, and
It's
the
very well
emotions
done.
behind them is so good.
it's fine.
I think the thing about Pixar in general is just like they make so many movies that are just like you can like for instance, I watched Brave the other day at work because it was what we were screening for St. Patty's Day at
So I never saw Brave.
the hotel, And Brave, like, we're just watching it back. It's like lower tier Pixar, in my opinion. It's like
I
it's
don't
one of
think
the
it's that good.
it's one of the worst Pixar movies, but at the same time, I still liked it. I still kind of teared up
There's
at the
still some
end.
good moments. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like it's Pixar, even the worst Pixar movies, like almost all of them are good. It's I don't know that there's any studio just in existence that has such a solid track record.
Speaking of Pixar, Turning Red.
Miyazaki.
We'll probably talk about it more on a future episode.
I wouldn't
but,
know.
Like Turning Red is fantastic.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny enough, Ratatouille, I think that's the last
Mm.
movie that I remember that they had an intermission for a movie at the
They
movie
did?
theater.
Intermission.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
Really?
weird.
I don't know
It was
why.
like 90
50
but-
minute
minutes.
movie?
Yeah.
It's so short.
Yeah.
Give me an intermission in the Batman. Good
Speaking-
lord.
Right?
Speaking of
Hey,
Ratatouille, I think that's one
Round
of my
5
favorite-
tonight. I watched.
Something's
Really?
in my
5
eyes.
times.
I love the Batman. It's nowhere near as rewatchable as like something like No Way Home.
I agree.
I think it's
yeah.
still a masterpiece. I think it's better than No Way Home, but I can watch No Way Home multiple times just because it's so fun. The Batman, I love it. It's not always so fun the fifth time around. You know,
It's funnier
what's
than No
fun
Way Home. I'll
is
tell you that.
yeah.
Personally,
I don't know, but just
you
like
probably hate me for this. I like No Way Home more still. Batman's a better movie,
That's
but I
fine.
could
That's
watch
fine.
No Way Home more. Yeah.
I
See,
feel like
this
Marvel
is
movies
how
are
I feel.
always
You-
easy to watch.
Josh, hang on. Josh, you have yelled at me online about
Yeah.
saying that I like Attack of the Clones more, but I think it's worse. And here you are on this podcast telling me
I don't
that
fucking
you
rate
think
it
Batman
2
is a
stars
better
though.
movie. That you think Batman is a better movie, but you like No Way Home more.
Yeah,
That's my
but
logic.
I didn't rate it 2 stars like you did, sir.
Wow. There's 2 stars for Yoda fighting for 2 seconds.
Attack of the Clones is still very rewatchable. It's very fun to watch. Wait, I think
We can talk
Or
about something other than
Ratatouille.
Star Wars.
Ratatouille.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's still like one of my favorite endings in film.
I never
it's
had
from
that
the-
close connection to Ratatouille. How does it end
I love
again?
that movie. From when they find like when the critic writes the good review about them, then they
Yes.
pan for it because rats cooking is a health problem. Then we find out he's funding this rat this restaurant that's like where has rat as cooks, and like it's so good, and the music is fantastic, and the final shot's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never had that close connection to Ratatouille, but I still really liked it when I rewatched all my stuff. But I'm gonna take a path close to Preston, where a film that I always watched growing up for me that always had a special place in my heart was Tarzan. For me,
Yes.
Tarzan was my first movie experience. I think
Mm.
1999. I want to say. I think I was like 4 years old. It was my 4-year-old birthday. We saw Tarzan. And even now, like I didn't know who Phil Collins was when I was 4 years old, but now I'm like Phil Collins went too hard for Tarzan. It slaps.
Yeah.
God damn! Like every song in Tarzan just a glorified banger. Son of Man. Oh God.
Ironically, I've mentioned Attack of the Clones and The Lion King a lot, but another movie that I grew up watching all the time was not Tarzan, but I love Tarzan. But Tarzan 2, where he's a
2.
kid. It's like a prequel, but they still
It's
called
great.
it Tarzan 2. They wouldn't have done that these days.
I don't know why. No.
But like Turk
It would
and
be-
Tarzan and
It
that
would be
little elephant,
Tarzan Origins.
That was
now.
so cool. Tarzan.
it would be like, yeah, it would literally be like Tarzan Origins, but it's like
I was
Oof.
never really into Tarzan except for Kingdom Hearts. That level is fantastic.
That Kingdom Hearts world is always falling on the hippos.
Yeah.
I think Tarzan would have been more like a bigger success and more of a, and I don't want to say cultural moment again, but I think it would have been a bigger deal if it were a musical. Phil Collins went off like that. That music is some of the best in any Disney movie, but I think it would have been a bigger deal if it were a musical, the way that Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King were.
I agree. It's funny. I had a question.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
You
Oh,
go ahead.
I had a question on one of my on all my history quizzes. I always do a bonus question so the students can answer to get some extra points. And I put in like what song is or what Disney film is a song "Son of Man" from, and like 90% of them got it wrong. They all like
See, I
Lion
don't
King or
remember that song.
Pocahontas, and they were like, "Mr. Harris, this was yeah, like, Mr. Harris, this was too hard." I'm like,
No.
it's a bonus for a reason, whether you know it or you don't. And you guys should know it. But yeah, it was just very funny. I grew up on Tarzan. I watched Tarzan 2 a lot, like Preston as well. Even the animated series. I think it was just called Tarzan the animated series on Disney. I watched that a lot as well. I just love Tarzan so much. Nice.
But speaking of post Disney Renaissance movies that I adored,
Ooh.
right, or underrated, Brother Bear is one I
Valiant.
watched a lot.
Oh.
What?
Valiant's good.
Valiant, the
I've
pigeon
never heard
movie.
that.
It's the pigeon movie. It was like it's known as like the worst Disney animation movie of all time. Anyways, Brother
I didn't
Bear.
know that was
On the
Disney.
range
Is Valiant
is one of the
Disney?
worst.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh.
I need to Google this
But-
shit. What the?
It's
Yeah, I've
about
never heard of
pigeons.
this movie. But Brother
Sorry,
Bear
I
is
didn't
one
mean to
watched
interrupt.
a lot.
Yes.
Brother
Love-
Brother
Bear.
Bear is
Oh,
fantastic.
that movie hits. I
Yeah.
rewatched that like 2 years ago, and I'm crying all throughout the movie.
I haven't watched it in a while, but like I remember that was one that was always in the VHS DVD player.
I love the song. I'm on my way. It's a great
Mhm.
song. Phil Collins also slaps there too. It's very
Mhm.
emotional.
Mhm.
That ending, the reveals, the animation.
The
Brother
animation
Bear,
is so good for its time. It's really
so
great.
Yeah.
strong. Like
It's
when
really great.
when the oldest brother is fighting the bear on top, and the
Mhm.
rain and thunder is crashing. It's just
I was
Brother
watching whenever I was watching Brave the other night, I was just like the whole time, and I wrote this in my letterbox review. I was like, there is a better version of this movie
Yup.
out there, and it is
Yup.
called Brother Bear. Like literally,
Exactly.
they are so similar.
Exactly.
I mean, they're not like it's one's mother daughter, and others like obviously a brother movie, but
Three brothers. Yeah.
there's so many like similar. Like why they even chose a bear for Brave? Like it's so similar in so many ways in terms of the plot, and it's just like they could have like Brother Bear is evidence that Brave could have been so much better.
Yeah.
Brother Bear is great. I love that movie.
Since we're on the topic of Disney, we probably won't. Let's talk about Disney parts. This is something that's mostly just me at Preston, but crack it open.
I did. I muted myself.
Oh, okay. Preston, let's talk about Disney parts.
We
Something
can.
that's so special to us.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Y'all know I live in Orlando and I work for Disney World. So, I mean, on the off chance that Disney finds this podcast, if they hear my thoughts on Brave, they may be upset with me. But no, I grew up going to Disney World almost every year, and I've been to Disneyland twice. And it's just, I think theme parks, and I know that I'm not alone in this thinking, but I think theme parks are the ultimate form of storytelling. I think that the immersion that a theme park can provide, if done well, is beyond any experience that you can have in a theater, and it's beyond any experience that you can have in your home. It's walking into something like, and this isn't even Disney parks, but walking into something like the Wizarding World of Harry Potter at Universal Studios is just so immersive, and it's so incredibly done that you feel like you're there. And when you ride the rides, you feel like you're, it's very, it brings you into the story. And the same thing with Galaxy's Edge at Disney is it's a living, breathing land that you get to take part of. And that kind of stuff is so neat. As well as I also have to mention Pandora at Animal Kingdom. But yeah, I think theme parks, if done well, can just, it is the ultimate form of storytelling, because you combine a themed land where guests can exist and just be a part of the world that you're creating. And at the same time, ride rides or purchase food or anything like that, or even buy like merchandise and just like exist as a part of where they are. And then there's also things like you know um less immersive but still really
Amusement parks.
incredible. Yeah, you think of areas, as far as Disney goes, I think of areas like Fantasyland or like Epcot as a whole. I love Epcot. Epcot is like, I'm wearing my
Your
Epcot hat
hat.
that I wear
Yeah.
all the time. This is my signature hat that I found in my mom's closet that she bought in the 80s. But just
That's
like
awesome.
I love Disney parks. Grew up going all the time, and it's they're very special to me because they represent the ultimate form of storytelling and the ultimate form of imagination, where limitless possibilities, where dreams can become reality almost, and people can just live in them, and that's so cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm similar but opposite, since Preston's Disneyland as a Californian has been like my, I guess, second home. I guess it's just a place where I've felt the most comfortable. It's just such a wonderful thing that like there's this place where it's so immersive and everyone's just being who they want to be, and it's has that to it. Also, like the immersion, like Preston said, of Disney especially.
Mm-hmm.
They do thematic like storytelling and like the immersion so well. Just the different lands, and this Disneyland I've gone since I was like not even. I've been lucky to be able to go as much as I do. Like since I was before 1 years old, I've been going, which is crazy.
Wow.
But it's like that. I'm a Disney kid, so Disneyland's a special place to me.
Technically a Disney adult now.
Disney adult now. Yeah.
I will not fight back on the Disney adult allegations. I will just accept them as they are.
Yeah.
I am one.
Nice.
It is my whole personality.
And bringing back to Star Wars, they created something so special of Galaxy's Edge that it's a living, breathing land that feels like its own thing in the Star Wars universe that you get to be a part of. Like that is so brilliant.
When
Have
I think
you
even
been able to go, Evan?
No, not at all. No.
This May.
Hopefully, if I have time.
Celebration. You're done. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
it's a
yeah,
blast.
it's just
And
so
I think
impressive.
even I haven't obviously been there, but I do think like the Galactic Star Cruiser, I know that there's been a lot of
controversy with it.
Yeah, I don't even want to say bad reviews because the reviews are great, but there's controversies on it online, whatever. But I think just in terms of, it may not look the way a lot of people thought it would look. It may not feel the way that a lot of people thought it would feel, but in terms of immersion, just the idea alone of the Galactic Star Cruiser existing, like the idea of like you get to come aboard this ship and you get to like partake in this story and choose First Order or Resistance, whatever your thoughts are on all that. I just think the idea of it alone and going on this 3-day or 5-day excursion and watching, you as your ship gets taken over by the First Order and watching Rey and Kylo Ren fight, and then Yoda appears in a hologram, like that kind of stuff is just like, that's so cool. Obviously, it's way too expensive. Whatever.
Yeah,
we can talk about that. Whatever in another episode, but conceptually, from like an idea standpoint, it's so neat. And in terms of immersion, I think it's probably the most immersive thing that, as a Disney Parks fan, I think it's probably the most immersive thing that they've done. Whether it's as good as it could be or not, I think that.
And time will tell how it lasts like that, because we know Disney has a track record of budget cuts and stuff.
The longevity aspect of it is, that's questionable. But yeah, definitely.
Unless Edgar, you have something to add on Disney Park.
It's good.
That's my line.
It's good.
I guess my only, well, not only thought, but Disneyland was always something that I wish I had experienced as a kid. The very first time that I ever went was for grad night back in high school. So you could say that like the wow factor was kind of like gone. Not really, but you're not gonna get that same of sense of wonder as like a
Yeah,
little kid. But yeah, like in the past what year now since they've released like the annual pass
the
and
new
all that shit.
passes. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. It's been very fun um trying to like experience something that brings a lot of joy to a lot of people. Obviously I love Disneyland. It's a really fun place to be, but it's not like my thing. It's more of like my girlfriend's thing. But don't you laugh, motherfucker. Uh, um but yeah, like I don't know, it's a really nice way to make like print easy money, I'll tell you that. But but yeah, like I guess that's like my takeaway with it. I wish I had experienced it like the way that you
yeah,
guys
I did that.
did.
So moving on, Evan, do you have something you want to bring up? A topic, a movie, something?
Let me see. Like, I've been thinking, like, do I say a movie that I've seen all the time that everybody else has seen,
It could
or
even be a show or like
underrated
anything
movie?
else.
I think
I know
I'll
you're
say
big into reality TV.
Big Brother. No, it's funny. The live feed came on while the show's going on. I'm like, oh, what's going on? But anyways, I think I'll talk about two things. I'll go the movie route first, and then a TV show. In terms of movie, and I'll go with something that I don't think a lot of people have seen, just to give a spotlight on it. The movie Warrior from Gavin O'Connor. Has anybody seen this movie?
No, I've heard of
Okay,
it
I've
though.
heard of
great.
it, but
It's on Netflix, and it is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's the best sports movie of all time. It's about two brothers played by Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy, and
Okay.
it is just it's peak. It's peak. It's just they have a great relationship. They have a distant relationship from their father, Nick Nolte, who was Oscar nominated for Best Supporting Actor in 2011 because of this movie. Um, and Joel Edgerton is like the teacher who doesn't make that much money because he's a teacher. And Tom Hardy is the brother who recently came back home from a war. And they're pretty distant. They don't really talk much. And then, of course, there's a fighting tournament. And to get money, both of them sign up, not knowing the other has signed up as well. And that's where,
That sounds
chaos
cool.
ensues. And it's 2011. I think it was my first Tom Hardy performance that I ever saw, and that's where I fell in love with Tom Hardy. It's just a fantastic film. It's very emotional. The fights really get me. They're very intense. They're very fun to watch. And Gavin makes the best part about a sports movie are the characters and the story, the arcs, and you really become invested in Joel Edgerton's journey and Tom Hardy's journey. In watching an interview from Gavin O'Connor, one of the main things I realized, or that helped me like appreciate the movie more so, was that there's not a villain in the movie. There's not one character you're rooting for over another. Both characters have just such great investment, like for why they're fighting, who they're fighting for, that you want both of them to win. It's super emotional. And then the ending is one of the best film endings of all time. Like it is, I cry every time I watch it. So I love the movie Warrior. It is, again, the best sports movie of all time, one of my favorite movies of all time. And it's on Netflix. So I hope you guys or people watching watch this movie
I
because
think
it's
I
very special to me.
on like digital. I've been meaning to
Oh,
watch it, but
wow.
I've never gotten around to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys
I
would love it.
I might take a break from bad movies and watch this.
You should.
It sounds
You
cool.
should.
Yeah.
It's excellent. I'm like nearly tearing up just thinking about the movie. It's so strong. And again, just Joel Edgerton, Tom Hardy alone, that should make anybody want to watch the
Yeah.
movie. But in terms of TV shows that I'll go, my favorite TV show of all time, my brother and I always go back and forth on this. One of our favorite shows was Naruto, the anime, and I love Naruto to death. But whenever I talk about something that's not anime, whenever I want to talk about like TV shows in general, Avatar: The Last Airbender is my favorite show of all time, and it means so much to me. It came at a perfect time. I think it was like 2004 or five. I was like growing up. I think I was in second or third grade, and this show just hit. Like it's one of the best shows of all time. It's a great case of world building. Mike and Brian crafted excellent characters, excellent culture, and different types of culture too. Each bending style depicts a different type of culture and different type of fighting. And each of the characters have such well-defined arcs. Zuko is still like one of the best character arcs in just modern fiction in general. He's one of the best villains, one of the best heroes, great redemption arc, great story in general. I just love this world so much. Avatar: The Last Airbender, from the action, the animation. I always talk about like book 2. There's an episode called Crossroads of Destiny, and that's one of my favorite episodes in anything TV related. It's so powerful, so emotional, so captivating. I remember where I was in each of the seasons as a kid watching it. It came with me everywhere. And then the continuation, Legend of Korra, was also very strong. Like I love the world so much. That's why I'm so invested in the fact that they're doing Avatar Studios, and Avatar is making a comeback in theaters and on Paramount Plus and even on Netflix. Like I'm gonna absorb everything Avatar related because I love that show so much. I think it's a perfect TV show. So if anybody's never watched Avatar: Last Airbender, definitely.
I have a weird history with Avatar. I watched it, like I adored it as a kid. Then, like now, growing up, I just forgot about it. Like didn't stick with me for some reason. Like I remember adoring it, but I don't remember much from it. And it's always something I've been wanting to go back to it and like rewatch it, but I've never like found the time to. But I really want to soon.
Yeah, it's an investment. I think there's like 20 something episodes in season 1, and then I think like 16 or so in season 2 and 3. So it takes a minute, but it's like I think 50 something episodes in general. But they're really just strong. It's strong. I can't say everything good about it. Every adjective in the book is Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's amazing.
I have never seen the show, but my uncle, when I was like 10, showed me the live action movie.
Oh, Preston!
He was like, "This is." He said he was like, "This is such a good movie. It's my favorite movie." And then the tease at the end. They're gonna make more. They're gonna make like 4 more movies, and it's gonna be so good. And I was like, "Cool, Uncle." That's it. That's my story with Avatar.
No,
That's all. That's all I
broke
got.
my soul like in 3 different places. I feel like one of it right now. Oh, God.
At least I watch Big Brother sometimes.
It's great. Watch Big Brother Canada. That's great too.
I should. I see your tweets because I unmuted you.
Thank you.
Is AJ in that one?
Did you live in Canada?
I had to. Evan is the biggest Big Brother fan. He watches the live feeds that I do not watch. Do you guys know about Big Brother at all?
I respect it.
Do you guys? Basically,
I've heard of it. I've never watched it.
They show these live feeds, and Evan can explain this more, but they show these live feeds that you can basically like log on and watch the contestants at any time that you want. And if you have Paramount Plus, and Evan watches those and live tweets with them. So like whenever I was watching Big Brother, I didn't watch the live feeds. I only watched the televised episodes, which were still 3 times a week. And
really? 3
Sunday,
a week?
Wednesday, Sunday.
Yeah, 3 times a week, and they're
wow.
And they're an hour long. You get really invested in this thing, and but Evan would live tweet spoilers, so I had to mute him for a little while, and I would like DM him after I watched an episode. I'd be like, "Oh my god, this happened," and it was probably like 5 days old for him. But I didn't have anybody else to talk to, so I was like, "Evan, please, like
that was so
rewind 5 days."
The house dynamics have changed considerably, Preston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only reality show I've like ever been really into was Survivor, but that was back when I was like years ago.
I grew up watching Survivor.
I stopped watching in a while. Yeah.
I grew up watching Survivor. Yeah. And I got recently very into we're way off topic, but I got into Love is Blind.
And
I
it's
think
on
that show
topic. It's what we all
I need
love.
to watch
it's
Love Is Blind.
I think it is exactly the trashy television that I will sign up for. Like Big Brother, I get actually invested in. I feel like it's like less scripted than a lot of other
Completely. Yeah.
reality TV shows. It feels less scripted. Everything is scripted in one way or the other, but it's a lot less so, it feels
Yeah.
like,
It's
especially
just
with the live feeds. It's full transparency.
it's people in a house. Yeah, they can say
Yeah.
whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the live feeds for Big Brother, like, definitely to me, like, that almost compels me more. Even if I don't want to watch the live feeds, the fact that they exist, like, it just makes the whole thing feel less scripted. It makes the whole thing feel a lot more authentic, which in reality TV is very, very rare. You watch something like The Bachelor and you're like, this is entertaining, but also like half of it's fake.
Incredibly, Bachelor is incredibly scripted. Yeah. in
Yeah,
terms
yeah,
of, like,
exactly.
yeah.
And Love is Blind might be scripted as well, but I don't care. Like it's one of those things where I'm like, this may be like trash TV, but you know what? Am I gonna watch it like religiously and then message AJ at night? Yes, because he watches that one.
Yeah,
So
great stuff.
as like another topic I want to get into real quick, since I know we all have like a love for video games. So let's just go around and say like, what are some of our favorite video games?
Oh wow, fuck. For me,
I could start if we want.
I know which one is yours, Evan.
Are you gonna say Last of Us? Yeah,
We share
Last
that.
of Us. Last of Us was a pivotal game for me. 2013 June. Where was I? No. Yeah, that movie or that game it's perfect. The characters Joel and Ellie, like I love that game to death. And Last of Us Part Two, I just finished replaying that so I could play it on the hardest difficulty.
For what, the 10th time?
Yeah, I'll play in a harder and harder and harder difficulty each time. Last of Us Part Two is just as perfect as the first one. I can't tell which one's better. I stuck with Last of Us One longer, so maybe Last of Us One, but Two is just it's so emotionally heavy that it's hard to replay as much as the first one. But Two is just as excellent, I think.
I think Part Two is probably my favorite game, like just from a quality standpoint and like how special it is. Because that was
gameplay,
my
the
most
combat,
hyped thing ever, and it
yeah.
delivered so incredibly.
Last of Us Part Two is a masterpiece. Both masterpieces, but also video games for me. I know Josh would agree with this one. Kingdom Hearts 2. Kingdom Hearts 2 was it's peak. It's one of the best.
That was my childhood. Kingdom Hearts was my childhood.
Kingdom Hearts is my childhood. This is the 20th anniversary of Kingdom Hearts this year.
Shit, it is, huh?
The first game came out in 2002, and they're having an event next month in April. I think it's like April 12th. And they might reveal like the upcoming slate for Kingdom Hearts. I'm super excited. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 is just a masterpiece. Like my brother and I were crying tears in like third grade or whatever whenever we finished that game. It is excellent. It is
Kingdom Hearts 3 is like great. I love Kingdom Hearts 3. Yeah. Remind especially 3, the DLC.
Remind, yeah. When Remind came out, I'm like, now this is everything I love about Kingdom Hearts. And, Kingdom Hearts, Last of Us, the Uncharted saga, not even trilogy, Uncharted 4, Lost Legacy as well.
I watched Uncharted the movie today.
How'd you like it, Preston?
You know what? Because I watched it today, I do have some thoughts. I think that it was like not great, but also not horrible.
Not bad.
It's like they tried to make the most like middle of the line movie possible, and they did it. It almost makes me sad because like I know that there's a 5-star version of that movie deep within it. 100%. You know, like just hearing the plot, you're like, this could be pretty good. It's not, but it certainly could be, and that just makes me like, I don't know. It kind of glued me a little bit more because I wanted to catch like the moments that they actually landed.
Yeah, the thing about that movie that's so frustrating to me is that they took so many set pieces from the games and just put it all in one movie, and as a prequel to the games, which makes no sense to me.
I'm
Me neither.
surprised they didn't include the train sequence from 2.
Thank God they
Yeah.
didn't. Maybe they can do
Surprised
that
they
for the
took so much from
sequel.
4, despite it being like an origin story as much.
That was
Yeah.
the one thing that, like,
It's so
having
weird.
never played the games, I could even tell, like, in the movie, I was like, okay, these action set pieces are clearly so much more creative and so much more interesting than anything else in this movie. They're probably from the games. Like, that's probably where they came from. That's probably why.
The plane sequence, especially, it's like Preston said it best. Like, I feel like they were trying to make a middle of the road video game movie. Like, it felt like the director knew that they were making a video game movie, and that's not the route you should go. Just know you're making a good movie. But they wanted to make it so
God.
video gamey, like the Tomb Raiders 2016 one. And, like, it felt like they were making a
I
video
like that
game
movie.
movie.
It's not a
That's why I
good
said,
Tomb
like,
Raider movie, but it's fun.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's the same as this one. I feel like it's just average. Like,
Yeah.
it's so forgettable,
for
unfortunately.
Uncharted, I don't know. I just feel like I would watch a sequel not because it's great and not
And there
because I
might be at
loved
this
it,
rate.
but because
I'm interested
I
in a
didn't
sequel
hate
kind
it.
of,
Like, it
to see,
wasn't
where they go with
bad.
it.
There are a lot of movies, action movies in the same kind of genre that Uncharted is in that I'm
Red
like,
Notice.
okay, that Red Notice, I would maybe watch a sequel. Uncharted was better, but a lot of movies that come out that I see and I'm just like, okay, this is just bad. Uncharted is like not great, but also not like just not unwatchable by any means.
No.
Like, it's not bad.
No.
You can watch it.
I walked out saying, like, not half. Maybe I had the lowest of low expectations. I'm like, it's not that bad. I'm not gonna watch it again anytime soon, but not
Our
bad.
friend Christian, who we all know on Twitter, I just pulled up his Letterboxd review because I read it after watching the movie, and he had one sentence that I thought was funny, and it's true. He said, Mark Wahlberg stinks a lot. Terrible casting as Sully. He also just has terrible line readings and genuinely feels like he showed up, read the script once, and started shooting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Mark Wahlberg was probably the worst
Definitely.
part of that movie. And that's exactly what it feels like watching. Is like, he showed up, he read it, and he was like, okay, roll him. I'm ready.
Tom
The
Holland
relation-
is like, you could see a bit of Nathan Drake in Tom Holland. As far as Mark Wahlberg's Sully, there's none of that character in it.
No, nothing for Sully. And what I liked about his Nathan Drake, Tom Holland, was that it was different from the games, but it had to be because it was an origin story. Like, Nathan in the
Yeah.
games is like a dick, but he has a heart of gold. This one has a heart of gold. And he's like less so a dick. He's just very like, he's susceptible to like people lying to him. And like, he's so new to the game that I liked that part of his character because that wasn't what we see in the games, and it made sense.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
he
That's
was
why I
so
would watch a
naive.
sequel, is because like the movie itself, not great, but like Nathan's character is like also
Solid.
not great, but also
It's-
compelling. Like,
It
it's
was-
like I'm
Yeah.
interested to see where he goes.
You can see what they're going for. Exactly.
There's something there. They're not fully tapping into the potential. They're not reaching it to where it could be.
No.
But there is something there, and it makes me curious, and it makes me want to see, like, could they make a good sequel? I don't know.
Given the money it's making, I would be surprised if we don't see a sequel by 2024 at this rate. Like, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I bet it, especially with how much they set it up. I mean, they clearly want it to be a franchise.
Yeah.
I think
As far as the
Amy
video
Pascal
game-
has Tom Holland locked in a cage in her basement, and it's not going to let him do any other movie except for Uncharted and Spider-Man, and she'll pull him out to film those
and
movies.
Cherry.
Yeah, and Cherry. Yeah.
Oh, I also like the Chloe actress too. The girl who played Chloe. I thought she was pretty solid.
She was good, yeah.
She's good.
Yeah.
As far as like the video game movie like adaptation or series, Last of Us on HBO is like, I'm really having faith in that. It's going to be fantastic because
so bummed that it was moved to next year.
all of the pieces are coming together for it. Like Neil
Yeah.
Druckmann is a writer and a producer on it, and Pedro Pascal, Bella Ramsey. Like, this is, I have hope
Woo.
that we're doing.
I've never played the games, but
I've
I've never played the games, but I've heard such good things about it and seen so many people getting really excited about how good the casting is, and then also
It's fantastic.
knowing that it's made by HBO makes me like, okay, I will watch this.
That's
I'm
the
excited for
thing.
this.
It's a series and it's an HBO series, so
Mhm.
of course it's going to be great. They
Yeah.
have a
HBO don't
great
miss,
HBO's
except
crushing it.
the last season of Game of Thrones. And Edgar like biting his tongue. But
Edgar, it's your
like,
turn. Edgar, you haven't talked in a
Hey,
while.
besides that,
HBO has some misses, but they also have Barry, so I love them for that.
What's probably the worst thing that they've done like in a while, other than Game of Thrones? Big
um,
Little Lies season 2.
Oh God! Oh,
probably yeah.
Edgar, why'd you say that, man? That series was
White Lotus.
trash.
I did not like the ending of White Lotus that much.
Not great. Not
I like the
great.
show, not the ending. I
I
wouldn't
agree.
really
I
have.
think the show was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's a solid show, but I think season 2 could be
Fantastic's
even
4.
better. Oh man, yeah.
The cast for
Yes,
season
yes,
2
yes.
is fucking amazing. I can't wait.
Aubrey Plaza, right? Is she in season 2?
Haley Lou Richardson.
Ah,
Are you kidding me?
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm hyped. Yeah, season 2 has me hyped. And
Back to
HBO
video
gives
games
us
though.
Oh yes.
Back to video games. Another one of my favorites from my childhood. Crash Bandicoot 2. Torchette
Oh,
Strides Back. Amazing.
I never played
video
the
game.
Crash games growing up.
It's
That was a
my
franchise that I
favorite
missed.
platformer. It's so good.
Nice.
I have vivid memories of playing that like every morning before school. So good.
Wow. Did you guys ever play the Sly Raccoon games? The
Sly Cooper.
like Sly Cooper. Yeah,
I've
not
never
Sly
played
Raccoon.
them,
Sly
but
Cooper.
I've like seen stuff on them. Yeah.
Sly Cooper was my stuff. Naughty Dog's Jack and Daxter. Also a big fan of that. Tom Holland said he wants that to be a video game movie up next too. I think that would be fun.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, animated, not live action. You can't do live action with those things. Yeah, video games are my life. Edgar, you got any video games? Don't you play a lot of video games too?
Yeah. I mean,
The Witcher.
Oh,
well,
duh. Yeah, Witcher 3.
yeah. I mean, I love The Witcher 3, but I wouldn't really consider it like when we're talking about adaptations. It's more of a book adaptation when it comes to the
Good point.
Netflix
Good point.
show. But yeah, The Witcher 3 is fucking amazing. But I was actually gonna go with the last video game that I actually really got into,
Ooh.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Hell yeah.
Ooh. I
And they're
haven't
making a
finished it
movie
yet,
out of it,
but,
right?
like, it's great.
Yeah,
PlayStation's
you can
making
get-
movies out of everything now.
Oh,
But
The
yeah.
production company is great. They're just doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but
Mhm.
like the story in that game is so good, and then the gameplay is even
Gameplay's
better.
fantastic.
Gameplay is
Presentation
sick.
of it all too.
It might be the best like medieval like sword
Period.
combat. Yeah,
Yeah.
like period piece like video game combat that I've ever played like in anything. Like it's really like immersive and it's really like fun. Like I feel like sometimes like medieval video games like for example like For Honor, it's another really like fun
Good
video game,
times,
but
Edgar. Good times.
yeah, good times. But you can get really like frustrated because like
Yeah.
you're trying to kill this one dude and it just doesn't feel
Doesn't
like
work.
yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't really work. So the gameplay in Ghost of Tsushima is just so smooth, so good, really great.
See, the Ghost of Tsushima came at a weird time for me because that was right after Last of Us 2. So that playing that, the quality of that game, then going back to like that like immersive as fuck and like doesn't really feel like a game as much as traditional like games do in a way. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But going from that to like the more clearly video game, so Ghost of the Tsushima is like that was kind of not frustrating, but like hard for me to get into at that point. And
Yeah.
I've like
Yeah.
I know it's good. I know I want to play it, but I've never like gone back to it for some reason.
I think you should definitely go back into it because I had that same feeling. And in the Twitter space, people are always comparing PlayStation exclusives, and people are comparing Last of Us to Ghost of Tsushima. I think Last of Us is a better story; it's a stronger narrative. But Ghost of Tsushima just has everything else I love about stories. It's a great story, great gameplay. It's just very fun, open world environment. Like there's a lot of ways you can f up an open world game. Assassin's Creed has done that a lot recently, where it's like it's very cluttered. Post game is very boring.
Every
For Ghost of
Ubisoft game.
Tsushima, yeah, I like Assassin's Creed 2. I think is a masterpiece.
Brotherhood was great.
But
I love Brotherhood.
Brotherhood, yeah.
Black Flag.
Black Flag, hell yes. But Ghost of Tsushima just has a great gameplay, great story, which works better like once you finish it and once you can visualize like all like Act One, Act Two, and Act Three, how it all built together. Um, Ghost of Tsushima just rocked my world. I remember playing it like the opening level where you're in the field and the credits roll. It's very immersive. Like I love Ghost of Tsushima so much, and I think there's a lot they could do for the movie. I kind of wish it was a TV series, but I can see what they can do for a movie as well. I think a movie would
Yeah.
be pretty successful.
Another video game that it's gonna be a TV show that I'm really looking forward to. It's Fallout.
Fallout,
Yeah, I never got into
yes.
those
Yeah,
games.
I
Fallout
really
4
got
is
into.
one of my favorite
Yeah,
games.
4. Yeah, it's so fun.
Hmm.
I actually I don't think I ever beat that game. I don't remember.
I never did.
Anyway,
There's so much to do in those games.
yeah, yeah. But that's just another like for me RPGs in general. They're like everything.
Yeah.
Like I really can't get into like shooters. It's just like boring to me. I know that I'm in the minority, but like that's not like my
I'm with you
cup of
there
tea.
too. Like first FPS games isn't really my thing, unless it's like something
Yeah,
different, like
yeah.
Dishonored or like Deathloop.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
And Fallout, like it was like you can play it as a shooter game, but you can play it as an RPG game. It's like the
Yeah.
best of everything in a way. So that's another one that I spent a lot of
Have you
hours
played
that I
New Vegas? Fallout New Vegas.
no. It's
That's a
four
great
is the only
Fallout game.
the
4 is the only
Fallout 4
one.
is the only one. Is yeah, it's the only one that I've played from that
Okay.
franchise.
Yeah. Just a shout out, I feel like more indie games that I love. Celeste is a really good platformer that came out a few years ago. The story is
Oh,
really good and the gameplay is fantastic, and the music is like one of my favorite soundtracks from a game.
oh,
And
never heard.
yeah, it's really good. And Oxenfree is have you guys heard of that game?
No, I haven't.
No.
No, it's a good like narrative based game. It's a sci-fi like adventure of these teenagers that they like basically arrive on an island and some supernatural shit starts going down. And the dialogue in that game is just really well done, and it's really natural and stuff. It's really
I
good.
just thought about I just thought about something. Give me a Ghost of Tsushima type like revenge video game in the Dune universe. Fremen against Harkonnen. Let's go.
Do you
I
want to
would love
talk
it.
about Dune for a bit, Edgar? Since that's something really fun.
Um, sure. Yeah, we can talk about it. I mean, it's not really something that I grew up with. It's more of
Well,
a
yeah,
recent
but
thing. But yeah, I think the as I get older, I feel like I get more into like character based stories and the journey that Paul Atreides is taken in those books, especially the first two, is just really different from everything else. It's not what you would expect from the quote unquote hero's journey, and just watching Denis Villeneuve like plant the seeds for what's to come in the first movie that just came out last year. It was just like so rewarding in a sense because you know what's coming and you know that this guy is gonna fucking pull it off. He's not fucking around. He's almost like the same attitude that he had with like Blade Runner. That he wanted to make that movie because he didn't want anybody else to come in and mess it up. It's like the same mentality.
King.
uh, we love a confident king.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, um, just the scope of that universe is so it's perfect. Like it's everything like you could ask for from the sci-fi genre.
Yeah. Even for me, as somebody who's never read the books, I instantly fell in love with Paul's journey. I felt very captivating, very interesting, and the world too. Love me some sand.
Yeah, never gonna forget a
Mhm.
person texting me questions about Dune.
And whenever I eventually go back to watch it for a third time, I'll text you more because I like it. But do I understand it? No, I don't.
You know, one of my only gripes with that movie is that they never actually like explain what a mentat is, which I think it's pretty critical, especially for like
A what?
the a
What do
mentat.
What's that?
What's that?
Uh, basically, you know, what's his face? The guy that plays um Polka Dot Man in the Suicide Squad.
Oh,
What's his
David
name?
Dalsmasian.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mhm.
There you go.
yeah.
Him. Basically, a mentat is it's basically like a human computer. So like thousands of years before the story of Dune started, there was like AI basically took over the universe, and since people, well, they wanted to be the dominant species again, they after the war ended and after they were successful in overthrowing the machines, they agreed that like machines can like think for us anymore, like we cannot rely on like in technology as like we used to. So what they do is that they start training human people to basically do the job of a machine. That's basically what a mentat is. You know how like in the movie, like their eyes like go wide, like they roll, and that's
Yeah.
basically like making like calculations, like in their minds.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm surprised that they cut from the
I'm
movie because it's
sure
a
part
pretty
two.
like significant. Yeah, basic. Yeah, sure, I'm sure about that, but it's a
I
pretty
love The
significant.
Matrix.
Yeah.
Want to talk about it?
Nah. I don't. Matrix doesn't fall into this category for me. That's interesting
Yeah.
though, because Dune. I really enjoyed Dune. I liked it more the second time because I had subtitles. There's some stuff that it's so plot heavy in a lot of moments. Not in a bad way. Some movies are plot heavy in a bad way. It's not plot heavy in a bad way, but like if you don't pay attention or if you miss a beat, like you're kind of screwed for what happens
Yeah.
next. Because if
Yeah.
you've
There's just a
never
lot of
read the
movie
books,
in that movie.
it's a lot of movie in one movie. It's a lot, and you gotta be present for it. And I think second time around, I definitely appreciated it more and I liked it more because I felt like I understood it a little bit more. But I'm still not there. Like I still feel like it's just so much
I
to take
really,
in.
I really hope they do a double feature in next year.
Oh, that would be
Ooh, that'd
good.
be cool.
That
I
would
would
be like
love that.
wouldn't that be like 4 hours or 5 hours?
I don't
But
even
5
care. I
hours,
would
yeah.
I would love
I would
back
love
to
that.
back.
That'd be
Even
good.
if they don't do a double feature, whenever I see part two, I will watch part one at home beforehand.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still pissed that they cut the "Remember the Tooth" line from the
Yeah.
movie. I was waiting for it. I was like, what the fuck?
We still got the picture. We got the message of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like going off of like Preston's point about being like very like plot heavy, that's one of like the perfect examples where both the plot and the characters drive the story, and it feels like very organic. And I was just thinking about that because well, for better or for worse, I'm rewatching the Fantastic Beasts movies, and okay,
Why would you
so
do
last
that?
night.
He subjects himself to such horrors and then complains about it to his friends.
But
You
like
did this
for
to
example,
yourself.
I know I did this to myself. But like for example, like last night, I literally could just get into the first 30 minutes of the movie, and I decided to go to the bank like in the middle of the night because I thought that was more entertaining than keep watching the movie. Um, but that's like a great example of like especially Crimes of Grindelwald, of a movie like being driven entirely by the plot, that it like the protagonist of that movie shouldn't even be in that movie. um and it just
Still haven't
feels
seen
very like,
either of those movies.
You're good.
oh,
Yeah.
at least watch the first one is
The
okay.
first one's cute. No, the first one's good.
Eh.
Yeah, no, it's not like great. It's not as good as any Harry Potter movie, but it's not bad. The first
Yeah.
one, but then
Be
Crimes
back.
of Grindelwald is just what Edgar. To your point, like it's so plot heavy, and we've reached a point. It's so sad because it's the most. I mean, people talk about the sequel trilogy and Star Wars not having a game plan planned out beforehand. It's got nothing on Crimes of Grindelwald, and we're only 2 movies in. Like, it is so clear that they did not know what they were doing, because by the end of the second movie, the main character of the first movie has no place in these movies whatsoever, has just no reason to even exist in these movies.
It's
so
crazy. Bad. Even the titles are so weird. It has to be somewhere to find them.
It's shrinking the Fantastic
They've
Beasts
abandoned him.
Shrinking.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting with like Harry Potter right now because of like JK being such a horrible person. Like that adds to it also, that's always on your mind when you think about Harry Potter these days. So like that's why I've never really gone back to watch those movies, because
we love movies.
Not at a point,
I mean, I watched the movies last year again. Oh yeah, true. Yeah. I still don't know if I'm going to see the third one in theaters. The second one killed me. I'm like, do I go see the third one?
I was one of the only people. I'm always, and this is maybe kind of similar to what I'm doing with Uncharted, but I'm always the person who will say, like, even after I watch a bad movie, I'll be like, I would watch a sequel because I want to see if they can redeem it. So like after Crimes of Grindelwald, I was like, yeah, sign me up for 3 more, as long as they're
3 more,
as long as they're not what that was. I
don't care. No, Preston. One second you're out.
I think mainly the Jude Law casting as Dumbledore was really interesting to me, because he does look like a young Dumbledore to me, and I think that
he sounds like him.
He's good.
I don't think he's bad. Good. Yeah, no, he's good. He's probably the best part about him, and I think that's probably why I watched the third one, is because he's obviously now the main character, I guess. And so like for whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, they've abandoned their main character.
About any Dumbledore.
I don't either, but I'm curious to see what they do. I'm too invested. Might be too just invested and glued into the franchise itself, the world. But
yeah,
I'm interested to see what they do, because even if it's bad, like I want to see it. I want to know what they do, even though we know like
now you make me
Dumbledore and Grindelwald both survive this. The consequences are meaningless.
It's like watching like very entertaining train wreck. You just need to see how it ends,
and that's why I watch Love Is Blind.
Full circle. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just watched Deepwater, and that was hilariously bad. So, if whatever this movie is, I forget what it's called now. Fantastic Beasts 3. If it's as bad as like or good as Deepwater, then sure, I'll see it. But the second movie just killed me. Like I had no interest. Like I'll play the video game that's coming out this year, but I don't know if I can sit through the Dumbledore Army, whatever it's called.
That's not what it's called.
What is it called? I have no idea what it's called.
It's Dumbledore Army. Dumbledore Army.
Yeah, let's call it that. Yeah.
Fantastic Beasts and the Dumbledore
Army.
Yep, might as well.
That's it.
Isn't it like the memories of Dumbledore or some bullshit?
No, it's Dumbledore Army.
The secrets of Dumbledore. What a fucking joke!
Where did they come up with this shit?
How is it still Fantastic Beast? You put yourselves in a circle, you dumb fucks. WB, man.
Oh, anyway, you want to talk about another train wreck?
Let's do it.
Should we do it? Yeah, let's do it. I'll be back.
Oh boy.
Wait, what are we talking about?
What's he gonna bring over here?
Oh, this train
Game
wreck.
of Thrones.
What is it? Oh, is it bringing in Game of Thrones?
Jon Snow's. Are we actually going into that?
I expected this.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Why not? Let's go. Let's get into it. So Game of Thrones.
2 more hours, people.
Nah, I'll make it quick because I don't want to be here for like another hour. But like, okay, so there's this very interesting conversation that we could have maybe right now or in another time of what storytelling.
Save most of it. That could be a whole episode itself, honestly.
Yeah. But I was just gonna briefly touch upon it, like, what storytelling like can mean for somebody, and how invested you can get in a particular story. Fucking laughter is gonna die. Anyway, it's probably a sign. but but like how some people like they just can't um they just keep holding on grudges for a certain movies or TV shows, and I've tried, at least not successfully, but I've tried to leave my Game of Thrones um anger, I guess, towards the last couple of seasons. But like for me, the funny thing about Game of Thrones is that I didn't start watching the show like right away, and I mean, I was like fucking 10 years old when the show came out, so. But like the thing that got me into the show was back in I want to say 2015 when season 5 ended, and spoilers, I guess, Jon Snow fucking dies, and I remember. And
Listen, have you watched Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
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 Oh, of course.
Okay.
and I remember like I heard of the show, but I never watched it, and I remember like everybody talking about it like on my timeline. How was it on my timeline? I have no fucking idea, but it was there. um um but that's the first like thing that got my curiosity, like hearing people talk about like, oh, they killed the main character of the show and there's still more to go, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. So after that, that's when I actually started watching the show, which was, I would say, early 2016 or so.
I
Right,
think so.
right,
Wait, you
right
started
before.
watching after Jon Snow?
Yeah, that's the thing that got me into wanting to watch the show, because I was like, there's no way, not like this.
I was
But
around that same time as well. Yeah.
yeah, and so I started watching the show like in preparation for season 6, I
There we go.
believe.
Mm-hmm.
They usually like release the show like on
That's
like
what
in
I did
spring,
too.
early summer. So so yeah, there's that, and it was just one of those like things like in terms of media that just like clicked with me, like the story, like for me, like Game of Thrones and like the books, they were never really about like the actual like throne. Like I know that's what everybody wanted to know, like who's gonna sit on the Iron Throne at the end of this thing, and like that's not the point of this story.
Not
it's
at
it's
all.
a it's a coming of age story of this key of all of these children's like throughout the country, I guess, of Westeros, of seeing their like parents and their families dying, and getting like being put like in positions of power, and what are what are these people gonna do with that power. That's what, for me, the story always was. And seeing like the character journeys of like Jon Snow and Daenerys, like people like that were treated like nothing, like as nobodies, like rising to obtain power and do good things with that power, and eventually seeing those, especially those two individuals, just being like put to the side in such a horrible way, where the big thing like that kept Jon Snow like up at night, you could say, about like, oh, who is my mother, what's her name, to not even get a reaction from him like in the last season when he actually is told like his parentage. It's just
He's like,
like
oh, hmm,
oh, I was like, oh, okay,
yeah.
next. um
I don't want it.
I don't want it. And then, I mean, I'm sure you guys know what my opinions are about like somebody like Daenerys, of seeing like
Never. No, not at all.
um but yeah, like seeing like not only just a female character, but just like a character like her, like going through such abuse and trauma, and gaining power and using that power to help other people, putting her own interests like on the side to do good for others, and then at the end of the day, is just being told like, oh well, you're unstable, so you're out of here,
Oh,
goodbye.
Oh,
she kind of
toss of a
forgot.
coin, right? Yeah, toss of a
And the
coin for Targaryen.
yeah,
Oh,
and the funny thing about that line about like, oh, every time a Targaryen is born, the gods toss a coin to see if they're good and bad. There's only ever, it's not only is it stupid, it's just like
Not
it's
true.
like it's not true because like there's only ever been like two or three actual monarchs in the family that have gone like crazy in 300 years.
Mhm.
So
We're about to have a show, House of Dragon, which exemplifies that. Where like not everybody in that story is like super crazy.
yeah, and the thing about it is that a family like the Targaryens, um, they're called those things just because they basically have uh, fucking like nuclear, a living, breathing nuclear weapon. um,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Exactly.
and I mean, for me, it's very like difficult sometimes, like talking about it because it's something that I fucking love, like with a passion. Like those books are like my favorite like books like of all time, and it might as well be like my favorite like piece of storytelling like ever, even though
Mhm.
it's not finished.
Never
But
will be.
and never will be. Um, but it's just something that it's very like difficult to grasp, I guess, like loving something and yet being
Yeah.
like so disappointed by it. And I wouldn't even really put it like on the same level as Star Wars because even if you like it or not the last movie that came out, like there's still gonna be more, and there's
Mhm.
shit that you're gonna end up liking. And most likely you're gonna see these characters again in 10 years or less, so you're good.
Yeah.
But like
Game of Thrones fumbled the landing so much harder than Star Wars,
Oh
in
yeah.
Oh,
my opinion.
easily because
100%.
it was a TV show compared to like 3 movies.
Yeah.
And
Anyways,
because of
continue,
like
Edgar.
yeah, it's so good.
no, no, I mean, you guys can like chime in if you have something to say.
That's all I had to say.
Yeah,
Was just like it's a
I
different.
agree with Preston though. Like in terms of the ending, because I invested. I mean, I got late into it. I started in 2016, so it was like 3 years, not however many
Mhm.
years the show had started. But it was still just so disappointing to see a character just flat out assassinated like that in terms of writing, um, and I guess in the show. But
A butter
it,
knife, baby.
but
Oh
it
god.
was just I had never experienced that in fiction before. Watching something before my eyes where a story decision and a character decision just go horribly wrong, not in just in terms of what I want to see, but it was in the good of like just storytelling and show writing in general. Just the penultimate episode of Game of Thrones, the one where Daenerys like lights up King's Landing. I'm sitting in there yelling at my TV screen. My mom and my brother are like, Evan, calm down. It's just a TV show. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, no, like I am watching a horror movie happening before my eyes because I'm like, if she burns them, I'm walking out. I'm walking out. And she lit them up, and I walked out of the room. And I was pissed because I'm like, they're going to do it. They're going to do it, and they did it. And they destroyed my favorite
Yeah.
character in the show. And even the finale, I'm like, I'll give it a chance, see what happens. And it was just as awful. And I was one of the people who was like,
Brand broken.
I was like, I was one of the people like,
Oh
I'll give episode
god.
3 a chance with the war. I was like, I'll give episode 3 a chance. I thought it was solid. Especially we'll see what happens after it, and everything after that was just tanked.
Episode 3 was
And
Battle of Winterfell, right?
yeah,
Yeah, the long
I
night.
like that episode.
and I liked it in the moment. I thought it was very good, but then especially in hindsight, I was like, oh
Yeah.
no, like it really was like the beginning of the end.
Yeah.
After that, because the first 2 episodes of season 9 or whatever 8, whatever what it was,
Season
7,
2
8,
was the one where Bran
was
got
pretty good.
knighted, right? Or episode 2, I mean.
Episode 2, that's when Gwendolyn
That
Christie.
episode's fantastic.
Yeah,
It's really good.
Yeah,
probably one
that
of the
was
best of the show, ironically.
yeah. I know, right? And then everything after that was just a hit and a miss. It's like the curse of event television. And I talked about this on Hyperspace Hype with The Mandalorian, where some things just get like it's such an event television that they forget how to write a good show, and they want to get caught up
Yeah.
in the hype of it all. I mean, I don't want to get into Mandalorian, but I'm just like,
Yeah, let's not get into it.
but people just get into the hype of event writing
I
instead
get
of
what
just
you're
writing
saying,
about a
though,
good
yeah.
TV show. It's hard to explain, but yeah, Game of Thrones was that at its peak. It was just like, here's all this crazy stuff happening. Don't worry too much about the character arcs or the character journeys and stuff, though. But doesn't it look cool? Doesn't it seem cool? And that's what the whole finale of Game of Thrones was. It was just massively disappointing, especially because especially on rewatch, season 4 and 3 are just such great shows that aren't just, they're not massive.
Yeah.
They're not any big battles. It's just Tyrion yelling at the people in the court, and it's just as captivating as anything I ever watched on
The
television.
finale of season 6 is still one of my favorite episodes of television.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
Arguably
fantastic.
where the show should have ended.
Honestly, yeah.
And I like season 7, like the romance between Daenerys and Jon. I'm like, I was fully on board. Yeah, I liked parts of that, like when they meet in the cave and when they
Yeah.
meet for the first time. I'm like, oh, my heart. It's just the ending. It just was. I should have known when Tyrion was like watching them have sex. I'm like, what is happening? Yeah,
You know,
it was weird.
for me, the thing about that show that it's the most frustrating thing for me is that after season 4, especially when you go back and like look at it like as a whole picture,
Yeah,
after season 4, you can almost tell in the exact moment where
Yeah.
for these guys for the show like just faded away because you don't. I mean, it has its moments like season 4, the battle of what's it called, Hardhome, against the White Walkers. It's fucking great, but again, like, is it really like worth a cool battle in
yes,
in
exactly.
return of and sacrificing like good storytelling? Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't really go with that. And then season 6, which I still think it might be the last good season of the show, even though I don't think it's great. I think it has a lot of flaws. It might have, for me, I think
Arya's
that's the
arc in that, or Arya's like, yeah, what they did with Arya in that season was not good.
she basically
I
becomes
didn't
Tom
like
Cruise
it.
in that season. Yeah. But that to me that season is like the last like glimpse of interest that Benioff and Weiss like had on this show. And after that, like again, season 7 and 8 have their moments, but I mean it's just a few moments. And like more recently, like Peter Dinklage doing during like press for his new movie, he was talking about the legacy of the show and how people were like pissed that the pretty white people didn't get to walk out of the sunset, and that's why people were like mad about it. And I remember just thinking to myself, that's exactly how the show ends though. It ends
Right?
literally the last shot of the show is Jon Snow on his horse walking off to the sunset. That's literally how it ends. It's not
And
about
Arya
people.
traveling to a new place.
Yeah.
Literally on a sunset.
And on a sunset. um but at least for me, because I knew like I was already like talking to like Evan and Sean and all most of our group friends, and I remember like all of us talking like pretty sure that like a character like Daenerys was not gonna make it out from this show, and we were just like rationing like what would be the possibilities of like the character arcs for the
Yeah,
whole thing. And like it always came down to like what made sense, and it not really what we wanted, but what it made sense for like the entire like storyline of the show. And just seeing like all of that being thrown away just for
in the
shock
gutter.
value in the
Yeah,
Remember
gutter,
Melisandre?
like
Her fucking final moments, fucking
did she
horrible.
burn zombies or something?
She got like enslaved again.
She what?
Miss Sunday, yeah.
Melisandre, yeah.
Really? Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Right?
so I mean, yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think Evan even remembers who that is, but um, it's
Daenerys's what's
Oh,
companion, I
handmaiden? Is that
guess.
the right term?
I thought you
Yeah.
Yeah.
said Melisandre. I was like, wait, what?
No.
Okay, no, Melisandre. Yeah, that was not great.
But yeah, that's kind of like my little relationship with those books. It's pretty funny to me that George can write like all of these history books about the Targaryens, but can finish the actual thing that people want to see.
Yeah.
Um,
Helped make Elden Ring, and it's super popular now, and can't do one final book. No.
two actually.
Yeah,
There's
jeez.
2 more?
Yeah, there's one after Winds of Winter, A Dream of Spring, allegedly.
Yeah, this is never ending.
But yeah, I mean, that's everything that I kind of wanted to say about this. And
So yeah, I think what I want to do to end this, since we're going on, What's this? All name one movie that we haven't talked about yet that we adore and is special to us. I would kick
I'll
it
go
off
first.
with.
Okay,
You want to
you
go
go.
first, Evan?
I mean,
go.
instantly, I think of Arrival. That's a movie that just
Mm.
means so much to me. Whenever somebody says, "What's one of your favorite movie-going experiences or movies of all time?" Arrival instantly was just incredible. From the direction, the story, the romance. Do you want to make a baby? It's one of the. It's one of my
Probably
favorite movies.
probably his
Uh,
best piece of acting like in his entire career.
I agree. And I'm a
Yeah.
huge Jamie Renner fan. I love Jamie Renner. Wind River also for Jamie Renner, really good. But yeah, Arrival for me, just I would never forget watching it in theaters, watching that ending, and just being mind blown by like the concept of time and memories and how that all gelled together. Denis knew that is his masterpiece, in my opinion. I mean, all his movies are masterpieces, but Arrival for me just hit on another level, and I love that one. So that's one I'll quickly shout out.
Okay, I'll go next.
Oh boy, another 2016 classic.
One of my favorite
La La
movies of all
Land.
time.
Dun, dun, dun,
It's
dun,
just
dun,
one of
dun,
those
dun.
movies that makes you want to go out and make a movie, and it's so inspirational, and it's so beautiful, and it's just I think the perfect movie. The romance is absolutely incredible. The ending is one of probably my favorite in cinema, and like everything about that movie is incredible.
Heartbreaking.
Heartbreaking. Feels good, huh?
Where heartbreak
Heartbreaking.
feels good.
It felt
Nicole
amazing.
Kidman, come to the podcast, please.
Preston, what's yours? Or Edgar,
well,
one of you.
Go, Preston.
I'll go. I think mine would probably have to be.
Attack of the Clones.
Now we talked about that, and I'm glad we did because I love that movie. No, I gotta go with The Dark Knight.
Oh yeah.
It's just to me that is kind of the movie. I think that's the movie, honestly, like that, along with James Cameron's Avatar. Those are the two movies that kind of, I want to say, like, ignited my love for film almost. Like, that was around the time that because I watched them around the same time. I didn't watch Avatar until a couple years after it had been out. But I watched them both around the same time when I was kind of starting to be old enough to where my parents would let me watch PG-13 movies. And then once they were, I watched those two. And they were kind of the two movies that really captivated me and just made me fall in love with movies as a whole, especially like, nerdy shit like Star Wars and Marvel and all that, whatever, the superhero genre as a whole. But those two movies are the ones that really, really kickstarted it for me. Was like, this is really cool. I want to learn how they do this. I want to think more critically about this. I want to know why I love these things, like why I love these movies more than others. So I guess those are probably the two that we haven't talked about that would come to mind first as just like movies that mean a lot to me because of the time and place in my life when they came about, I guess.
Should I go with this odd pick?
Thunder Force.
Woman in the Window.
Don't remind me. Poor Amy Adams. She needs a better agent.
Where's she been?
Honestly,
Jesus
it
Christ.
was Elegy is such trash.
I think since Arrival.
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna go with this one. It might have been my first David Fincher movie that I saw. I actually don't remember.
Wait,
but
I'm going to guess.
Gone Girl?
Social Network?
Josh got it.
Oh.
Hey.
Wait, what did Josh say?
Gone Girl.
Gone Girl.
Gone Girl. Oh, that was my second guess. Damn it. I love Gone Girl to death. It's one of my top 10. It's in my top 10.
Yeah, Gone Girl. I remember watching that movie. When did it come out? 2014?
2014, October.
Yeah. What a great movie! What a great year for movies, huh? Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
That movie was so good.
One word about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. One of the best sequels of all time.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So good.
Between that and
Read
Toy
my
Story
article,
2.
people.
Yeah.
Toy
To
Story 2
Gone
doesn't
Girl.
belong on that list. Edgar, continue.
Toy Story 3 doesn't
Gone Girl, Gone Girl. What was I gonna say about Gone Girl? Oh yeah,
It's peak.
um, it's for me, like, again, one of the first, if not the first, David Fincher movie that I saw. Um, my god, does that movie radiate so much fucking style from him? The way that he like slowly like reveals things to you, the way that the characters like not only is the plot like being slowly revealed to you, but their motivations are being slowly revealed to you. And when the big twist finally hits, it hits you like a fucking bus. And it's
Ah.
so for
Mm.
it's basically Gone Girl is the movie that Deepwater wishes it was.
Yes, definitely.
And I laughed at the ending scene of Deepwater. I'm like, you're trying to be Gone Girl. Get out of my face right now. But yeah, I agree, Edgar, so much.
Probably also one of the best. I don't know if I would call it a villain, but like one of the best antagonists like in a movie, like in film, not just in recent memory, with Amy. That's her name, right? Amy.
Amy, the
Rosamund
character's name is
Pike.
Amy.
Amy Rosamund Pike.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, Rosamund Pike. Um,
Amy
somebody
Dunn.
that somebody that I'm surprised her career didn't like went to the
I cared a
stars
lot.
after that
She was
movie.
great in that
Oh, I love I
actor.
Oh
Care a
yeah,
Lot. But
yeah.
after Gone Girl, she was in Gone Girl. She was in Jack Reacher,
She's in
and then
that
it was
new
just
Amazon
like,
series, right?
oh, Wheel of
Uh,
Time. She's great in Wheel
yeah,
of
Yeah.
Time.
yeah. She's really good. Um, should have won the Oscar that year for Gone Girl, in
Oh
my
yeah.
opinion.
Who
Who
won? Was
won?
that
I
Emma
Reese
want to
Stone.
Witherspoon? No,
Emma
that
Stone
was
Julian
for
just
Moore.
Birdman.
Julianne
I
Moore for
don't.
Still Alice.
Oh
Was it? I
right.
don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
Emma
Still
Stone is
Alice.
supporting. That's right.
Um,
But yeah, Gone Girl for me is just like a perfect movie, one of the best of all time in my opinion. It might actually be my favorite Fincher movie. It's
oh wow.
always like back and forth between that and Seven.
Yeah,
I need to rewatch Zodiac actually. Yeah, I've been wanting to.
Zodiac is great. But real quick with Gone Girl, people talk about best theater experiences, and I'm like Star Wars or a Marvel film, a DC film, but Gone Girl really affected me in the theater. It was like one of the only times I saw a movie with like my mom and my dad. They don't live together, so it was a very special experience for me. And then just watching that, and then the reveals, and just the intensity of like that last final act, seeing what's going to happen. I had no clue. I didn't read the books, and my mind just exploded. And it was one of the first times I actually sought out a Blu-ray too. Like my Blu-ray collection was like not there, but after Gone Girl, I was like, I need to start getting Blu-rays the day it comes out, and I like ran to Target to get my Gone Girl Blu-ray because
Yeah,
I adore that movie to
I
death.
still have. I think it was the Target exclusive with the
Yeah.
book. Yeah, I still have that one too. Also, Tyler Perry is probably the best thing that he's ever been, honestly.
Yeah.
And also the character relationships between like everybody within the family and the cops. It's so well done.
Oh,
It's so
Ben Affleck's sister. What's her name? Carrie Coon. It's his sister in that
yeah.
movie, and I love her from The Leftovers, one of my favorite shows of all time, Leftovers.
Still need to
And
watch that.
yeah, she's great as like the sister. And when she breaks down at the end because of what's happening, it's just Gone
That
Girl,
ending,
so
so
good.
good.
Yeah,
Heartbreak does feel good with that movie.
hell yes.
But I mean, does anybody want to add anything else?
I don't
One
think so.
thing, Studio Ghibli. It's a newfound love. I watched through those movies like a year or two ago, and a couple of those movies have become some of my favorite movies of all time. Like Princess Mononoke and When It Rises are, I think, the best animated movies I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Incredible.
I'm the same way, real quick, because I did Ghibli. I watched a couple of them growing up. Like Spirited Away was on Cartoon Network, so I watched that a lot growing up. Spirited Away, some of the other ones. I love Your Name recently. That's not really Ghibli, but for Ghibli, like when Marnie was there, hit deep. When Marnie
I've
was
only seen
there,
Miyazaki's films. I haven't branched out yet.
I went through the whole list on HBO Max, or
Yeah.
just in order. Um, what's the other one that's not Miyazaki that I love?
Only Yesterday.
Only Yesterday. Uh, something with the heart. Whatever.
Whisper of the Heart, right?
Whisper of the Heart. That's my favorite, like, Studio Ghibli movie in general. It's so good. Like all those movies are very, very special. Some of the best movies, period, for me.
The ending of Wind Rises, like, even just thinking
Tears.
about it makes me cry. Yeah.
Yeah. Such great animation and storytelling. Wind Rises hits. Yeah.
Anyone else want to add anything before we end it?
Lord of the Rings slaps. That's all.
Yeah.
Guardians of the
That's all it
Galaxy
is.
Volume 2.
The Lego Batman movie.
Hell yeah.
I watched that last night.
Good.
The Lego movie in general.
Very good. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Love that.
Mitchell versus
The Green Knight.
Logan. God. Great movie.
Spider-Man,
Fast
Raimi.
5 is the best action movie of all time.
Wonder Woman 1984.
Fast 5. Hey, no, fuck you.
Fast 5.
Fast 5 is fantastic.
It's great, but it's not cracking my top action.
You want a good action movie?
Come on, my hat, Knives Out. How have we not talked about Knives Out yet?
Wow,
Masterpiece,
Knives Out,
one of the
good
best
point.
written films I've ever seen.
The Mission Impossible franchise is the best franchise of all time. Yeah, so I love
there,
that.
Yeah. Phantom Thread, masterpiece.
Good pick there. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, Edgar
This
Wright.
was fun.
He makes good movies. We like him.
Who?
Edgar Wright.
Oh, I was like, I heard my name. I was like, wait, what did I do?
Yeah, Baby Driver. I love Last Night in Soho. Scott Pilgrim.
The Sparks Brothers.
Last Night in Soho is so good.
Yes, Preston. Yeah, hell yeah.
Hot Fuzz. Amazing.
Good
Probably
stuff.
probably an a hot take, but The World's End might be in my top 3. That's a fucking great movie.
What movie?
Oh,
World's End.
Really?
Another Edgar Wright movie. Yeah.
That's my least favorite of his, but still good. I also want to shout out before we leave. Do the Right Thing is one I watched recently in a film class. That was one I had blind spots in film. It's quickly grew to like top 10 because that is a masterful movie. Spike Lee has like crafted something so special with that.
That's still his masterpiece. Yeah, it's really good.
I would say Black Klansman is almost on that level, but yeah.
It's good, yeah.
But is that everything that you guys? Is there anything else?
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
Yeah.
Unironically, I'm not joking.
No, that's one of my favorite comic book movies of all time.
Yeah.
Man.
The Amazing Spider-Man 3 when?
Right?
Please, Sony.
Real quick, Prisoners. Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners. Yes. All of Denis
Sicario.
Prisoners.
We're just naming movies at this point.
Mary Poppins Returns under the right circumstances.
Yes, masterpiece. No, fuck you, Evan.
Quick Little Light,
that
fantastic.
Is a joyful
Garbage
film
ass.
that
Evan, you gotta watch it with me.
Did you watch it drunk or something?
That film makes me so happy.
Well, I have fun with Mary Poppins Returns. I'll put it that way.
I'll just stick with the first one.
They're not good movies, but shout out to Transformers. They were a big part of my fucking childhood for some reason.
Edgar's always repping those movies. Michael Bay show over here.
Not even close.
Casino Royale. It's a good one.
I really hope you guys go watch Ambulance just so you guys can get.
I can't wait. I'm excited for
it. Jake Gyllenhaal is the best. Yeah.
I watched everything Jake Gyllenhaal's in, so I'm scared.
Hopefully, we don't have any Swifties watching.
Oh boy.
Just saying.
Another top 20 is probably Blind Spotting from 2018. That is a masterpiece of a movie.
Great movie.
But anyway, I think that's it for today. I think we discussed everything that we wanted to talk about. So, Josh, would you want to plug anything or?
Yeah, just my ad's on the screen right here for the podcast listeners. Just follow me over at Twitter at Josh D Woodbury, and also just want to mention a cool little initiative that a lot of Star Wars podcasters that we're doing right now who came together is called the Amidala Initiative. It's just a fundraising effort to support advocacy for trans rights in Texas, especially, and all the states that are doing shitty legislation against trans people and queer folks. So go check that
Yep.
out on Twitter.
Definitely.
How about you, Evan?
Find me on
Where can
Twitter at
people find you?
Harris EV9. Talking all things these days, Big Brother Canada 10, anime, Survivor on Wednesdays, just a lot of things. Surviving school every week because school is killing me these days. Teaching is hard. But yeah, and fun. But yeah, I had a blast podcasting with you guys. This is fun. Nearly 3 hours.
Really fun time.
It was long.
I don't know.
It was
But
good.
I had a blast. But I would rather do this than watching those extended editions of Lord of the Rings. Sorry, Andrew. So here I am.
Anyway, Preston, where can people schedule an appointment for therapy?
Schedule an appointment for my therapy sessions. I mean, I'm down. But no, I'm on
Therapy
all social
with
media
Presto.
honestly, it's a good time. It's a good time. Social media at Preston Seymour, and then on Instagram as well at Preston Seymour Photography, which I recently started, and I am soon going to be launching a store on there, which I'm pretty excited for, to start selling some of my photos a little more, make it more of a business venture.
Photos.
Thank you. Yeah, if anybody's listening and they like Disney Parks photos, I'm your guy. So follow me. But yeah,
If you like Dua Lipa 4K video
and Dua Lipa, I love.
Second mention.
Yes. Oh yes, of course. My most viral tweet, my most liked tweet of all time was that Dua Lipa.
How much?
Yeah. I think it got 8,000 something. Hang on, give me 2 seconds and I'll find it. Dua Lipa. It got 8,288 likes. I'm famous.
You're famous now. Don't forget us.
Yeah, she looked right at me. Yeah, it's in the video. Anyways, Andrew, where can we find you?
Where do we find you?
You can find me. My ad is there. I'm not even gonna bother trying to say it out loud because it's fucking
Edgebar.
Edgebar. You can find me. Hopefully, if I survive the Fantastic Beasts movies, my article on on what they're shit, basically. What else? What's gonna be our next episode? The Oscars next week.
Oscars.
Sunday?
Oh yeah, tune in
Ooh.
next Sunday. We're planning on doing a live stream. There's a little watch along for the Oscars.
Yeah.
It might have a
Next
little
Sunday already.
I know it's crazy.
Probably
might have a
Go ahead.
we might have a little episode or two leading up to it. I might want to put out my predictions, so look out for that.
Might be the episode where Heartbreak might actually not feel good that night. So
Yep.
So yeah.
Tune
in with us. But yeah, hopefully you'll join us for future episodes and like, subscribe,
Ring the
bell.
Yep.
Yay. And we'll see you next time. And don't forget, we make podcasts better.
Yeah, we do.